Being 5:33, I'll now call to order the regular meeting of the Lake Placid Town Council this 9th day of March in the Government Center of the great town of Lake Placid. We have with us today we got so many papers here. We have the pleasure of having with us tonight no, that's not it. There it is. Pastor Don Roberts from the Leisure Lake Baptist Church, who will lead us in our invocation and pledge. Is he here? No, I guess he's not here. All right, if everybody please rise. Let us pray. To our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for another beautiful day in paradise, better known as Lake Placid, Florida. We thank you for all that you have given us, and we hope that you will put your blessing down on this group tonight, that they make the decisions that will be in the best interest of Lake Placid and its residents and its surrounding community. And please, God, bless our troops around the world who are protecting our freedom, and our first responders also. In your glorious name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Holbrook.
Here.
Councilmember Hayes.
Here.
Councilmember Worley.
Here.
Councilmember Charles. Here. Councilmember Eberhardt.
Here.
All right. I'll now open it up to the public for non-agenda items, if anybody has anything they'd like to bring before council.
Good evening, Marlene Barker, 760 Sunset Point Drive. I just want to thank Jennifer and Nicole with the Chamber of Commerce for the great event that we had Friday night. The merchants in the town, I also thank them, and the merchants who provided supplies. It was really a terrific evening. People got to be walking around for 3 hours, which you normally don't see in Lake Placid. Interlake and Maine were busy. We met new people who had moved here recently. They had very positive things to say. A couple of them even said, wow, we're so glad because we just discovered the purple iris. So it was a really good event. So please pass on to Jennifer and all the folks that it was a well-planned, excellent event. Thank you.
I'd just like to add to that. The next day, on Saturday morning, I was over at one of the businesses, and a couple came in and said, we were here last night.
Any others? Okay, we'll move on. Under the mayor's report, the only thing we got an update today from FDOT, and so everybody knows, starting March 13th, the intersection at Dow Hall, Tower Street, and 27, the median will be closed for 10 days. You will not be able to cross the road there. They're hopefully going to be finishing up that part of the project. If anybody wants to see it, we have the detours. They've got signs up all over town how they're going to be detouring everybody. But if you'd like to see this, we'll lay it up here for anybody to look at. Okay. Oh no, I guess there is some out on the table. Okay, thank you. All right. We'll go to item 4, consent agenda, A through D.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda A through D.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any comments from the podium? Hearing none, we'll take it to the audience. Okay, seeing none, poll the council, please.
Can I get who said the second? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Somebody down there.
Okay, Deborah, thank you. Sorry. Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilman Eberhardt?
Yes.
Okay. We'll now go to 5, presentations. First, we have Melanie Beverly, who is here representing the Women's Club, and she would like to address the council.
Good evening. My name is Melanie Beverly, and I'm here representing the GFWC Lake Placid Women's Club. I also have with me additional representatives from the Women's Club, Chamber of Commerce, and the Legacy Foundation. We're here to tell you about an exciting project that we started, and we wanted to make you aware of it. This year, we started the Lake Placid Poetry Trail Contest. We solicited original poems from all of the local public schools, plus 2 additional private schools here in Lake Placid. They were themed based on the grade levels. Grade level 3 through 5 was the wonders of Lake Placid. Middle school 6 through 8 was what Lake Placid means to me. And then 9 through 12 was the past and future of Lake Placid. We did not receive entries from all of the schools, but we did receive 122 original poems. That was pretty exciting. We had them judged by 2 former teachers, and the students will receive a certificate of appreciation, but that's not the exciting part. The exciting part is we plan to put posts up and I don't know how to say it, print their poem on a piece of polycarbonate that will be mounted onto the stand. At the bottom of the stand, at the bottom of the poem, there will be a QR code, and anyone with a smartphone will be able to scan that and hear the student reading their own poem. So it's very exciting. We have our selected winners this year. We only received entries 4 through 11, so we have 7 entries this year. The intent is to put them near the murals. We want to highlight what Lake Placid has to offer. Currently, we have solicited some business owners that we could put the posts actually on their property. We have met with the Legacy Foundation. They're on board and they're very excited about it. The Chamber is involved. And so why I'm here today is we're hoping that the town council will also be excited about this program. We have close to 50 murals in this town. So even if we had poems from grades 3 through 12, it would take us several years to get poems at most of the murals. But what will happen is after a certain number of years, then we'll replace those, and we're hoping that we can post the previous winners at the chamber in the mural room. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that. So I'm not asking you for anything. I'm just hoping that you'll consider supporting the idea. It is a great collaboration between the Women's Club, the Legacy Foundation, the Chamber, and of course, Lake Placid. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have several proclamations here that I would like to read into the record. The first one is 2026-01, Child Abuse Prevention Month in Florida. Whereas Florida is committed to improve the lives of all Floridians and securing a better future for the citizens of this state, and whereas children who have adverse childhood experiences are at a higher risk of short and long-term physical, physiological, and behavioral challenges that can impact the individual child and the greater community. And whereas parents and caregivers who have resources and supports are better equipped to give their children safe and nurturing experiences. And whereas children have better mental health and physical health and academic success when they are raised in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas the Florida Department of Children and Family Secretary has a vision for holistic services by integrating systems and services. And whereas the state of Florida has established Hope Florida, a pathway to prosperity, a personalized approach to helping families overcome barriers to self-efficiency through community collaboration. And whereas Floridians can call 850-300-HOPE to speak with a care navigator for support to develop a plan to achieve economic self-sufficiency, referrals to local partners, and help identifying goals and barriers in their lives. And whereas during the month of April, Prevent Child Abuse Florida, in collaboration with the Governor's Office of Adoption and Child Protection, the Florida Department of Children and Families, and the Ounce of Prevention Fund of Florida, implements Pinwheels for Prevention, a statewide coordinated campaign to raise awareness of child abuse prevention efforts by teaching about healthy child development and positive parenting practices and establishing circle of parents peer group support. And whereas Child Abuse Prevention Month provides everyone a chance to learn how they can play a role in preventing abuse and neglect, including adverse childhood experiences. And whereas Child Abuse Prevention Month reminds Floridians of all ages that they can help children increase positive childhood experiences which lead to healthier, happier homes, therefore be it proclaimed that I, John M. Holbrook, Mayor of the Town of Lake Placid, do hereby extend my support to all observing April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Florida, done and adopted this 9th day of March 2026. Is Ms. Charles here? Yes, sir. Would you like to come and I'll present this to you? All right, the next proclamation is 2026-02, National Donation Life Month. Whereas one of the most meaningful gifts that a human being can bestow upon another is the gift of life. And whereas over 105,000 men, women, and children are currently on the national waiting list for owner transplantation, of which over 6,000 reside in Florida. And whereas 49,065, historic number of organ transplants incurred in the calendar year 2025 in the United States, thanks to the generosity of 23,787 deceased and living donors, of which LifeLink of Florida honored more donors than ever before serving 360 organ donors who provided 995 life-saving transplants to patients in need. Whereas more than 2.5 million people throughout the country and in Florida benefit annually from tissue transplantation, thanks to thousands of tissue donors, and whereas the need for organ, eye, and tissue donation remain critical as a new patient is added to the national waiting list for an organ transplant every 8 minutes of each day. Roughly 13 people die to the lack of available organs. And whereas more than 10 million Floridians have already registered their decision to give the gift life through organ and tissue donation, www.donatelifeflorida.org, or on their driver's license. And whereas LifeLink of Florida, the nonprofit organization dedicated to the recovery of organs and tissue for transplantation therapy in Florida, with a mission to honor donors and save lives through organ and tissue donation. Now, therefore, I, John M. Holbrook, Mayor of the town of Lake Placid, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Donor Life Month in the town of Lake Placid, and encourage all residents to consider leaving an infinite legacy through organ donation, and to sign up at mystorycontinues.com or when renewing their driver's license or state identification card. And this is signed and dated by me. And the last one is Proclamation 2026-03, Town of Lake Placid, Florida. Whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida Wastewater Management District and Lake Placid are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the town of Lake Placid and the state of Florida has designated April, typically a dry month when water demands are more acute, Florida's Water Conservation Month, to educate citizens about how they can help Florida's precious water reserves. And whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water. And whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community. And whereas efficient irrigation design, programming, and maintenance can conserve water, Lake Placid will encourage citizens and businesses to evaluate their irrigation system for potential efficiency enhancements. Now, therefore, be resolved by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Lake Placid, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Water Conservation Month. The town of Lake Placid, Florida, is calling upon each citizen and business to help protect our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. For this, the 28th year of Water Conservation Month, there will be a special focus on irrigation system evaluations. Again, signed and dated by me. Public hearing, we have none?
We have Central Florida Regional Planning is next.
Oh, that's on, okay, I see it, yeah. All right, at this time, we have Central Florida Regional Planning Council with the Downtown Revitalization Plan Draft Presentation. And we have with us tonight Jennifer Salisbury.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. And also here is Jeff Schmucker from our staff as well. We appreciate the opportunity. We keep coming with updates. I promise you will have a plan in your hands very soon, but we wanted to go over the projects that we have identified to date and get further feedback. So just a little bit of an overview. We have been charged with developing a downtown master plan for the town and really looking at providing that vision for the future and putting pen to paper and really being the scribes as we look at that future. And we have really many thanks to the community for showing up at a number of workshops, and there has been overlap with the strategic plan and the downtown master plan, but really have appreciated the feedback. And what resonates from the community so much is maintaining the small town character and charm that this town has, acknowledging that we do see, growth coming, but how to preserve that and also enhance the downtown. And as part of that, these are some snapshots of what we heard from the community, and really the community noting connectivity, continuing the connectivity that we have and enhancing that, and also really preserving the businesses we have, helping them expand, and opportunities for new businesses as well. And really that placemaking, that sense of place, that includes public spaces, architectural design, a lot of components that you have in your land development code. But we, as you know, had asked the community, and everybody went and put pen to paper on a vision statement for downtown. And this is a draft, so certainly open for interpretation and edits, but through all that feedback, we came up with downtown Lake Placid will be a connected, walkable downtown that leverages its lakes, arts, and small town identity to strengthen economic opportunities, support local entrepreneurship, and balance tourism and community life. We heard, so much about all of these amazing things that go on here. And I'm a patron of the Caladium Festival. It's just the most amazing event, but also I don't know how y'all live here when that's going on, because everybody in the country converges upon Lake Placid. So again, we'll have this out for comment as well, but we had so many amazing statements. It was really hard to put it all together to capture everything. And then we had worked our first workshop, folks may remember, each group drew on the map of what is downtown and what are the gateways coming into the town. So over time and through additional community meetings, we really had worked to develop that downtown area. And we really focused on what is the core of downtown, and you can see kind of that core in the bigger map. So we have a significant map series in the downtown master plan. Not only the CRA, of which the downtown area is a part of, but that connectivity to the greater town, the parks and recreation as well. And really where we've looked, and at the last workshop we had additional comments, we actually were showing the western boundary going past the railroad tracks in downtown. So I can, no, you cannot. Oh yeah, you can see the mouse. Okay, great. So if you look here, we did go south of Heartland Boulevard as we're talking about the core of downtown. And we came just north of Lakeview, and we came across, and we captured Journal Plaza, and we came down the railroad tracks directly to the west there. But then we did bring in, there's really kind of an office complex behind the depot, and then brought in the area around Devane Park as well, and then came down to the south on Phoenix. And then we had a lot of comments about, don't forget about Main and US 27. That geography from the core downtown was a little bigger, but what we did is, this map shows the north of downtown and to the south. And what it captures is gateway locations, those areas that welcome folks into the town and direct them to downtown. So this is a map showing wayfinding and gateways, but those gateways are really going to be those enhanced areas, welcoming you to downtown. And in one of the strategies for the downtown plan, it's looking at Main Street from the south as folks are coming in. We had heard a lot of folks from the community say, boy, if you come that way, you wonder what Lake Placid really is. But we want you to come in. We also have other gateways bringing you in as well. If you don't come in on Main, you can come in, if you're coming from the south, on Interlake, of course, and on Dahl Hall as well. So each of those little dots with a number indicates where there would be welcoming folks to downtown, enhanced landscaping and signage. And again, that Main Street corridor down to the south would be an area of improvement as you bring folks in. So what does that look like? Okay, so we do have in the plan a number of examples of what wayfinding looks like, but this is just an example. And if you all met Marissa on our staff, she loves arches. So this is just one example of many. And these are just snippets of what could be. But the wayfinding, if you look at this sign down here, what I find so much about Lake Placid is we have so many landscape medians in place. We have so many good bones. And really, it's just the next step to bring forward that wayfinding, additional landscaping, things like that. But these are examples of what we're talking about. And then I'll turn this over to Jeff. But this is concepts of what bring together a downtown. And we see so much of this already on Main Avenue and opportunities on Interlake as well.
All right, thanks, Jen. It's good to see everyone tonight. Just to build off of what Jennifer was saying, we brought in a few more concepts that we want to share with you. And I think the overriding theme of this is that there's really not one element that makes downtown. It's really this comprehensive approach to it, right? So it's the design parts, the physical parts. You'll hear a little bit about, and you'll see in the master plan, some of the programs and the cooperation and the coordination with other groups and other agencies, right? So it's more than just what are the physical elements and the dollars that can be put towards something to make it, look pretty. But that's a big part of it, right? There's an old term we used to use in design, it's the broken windows effect, right? If every place had broken windows, a lot of people then will also have broken windows because it shows that there's not an investment in the downtown. But as you beautify a place and you add to that, it starts to have a natural effect that other folks want to do that as well. So again, just building off some of the concepts that Jennifer had mentioned, this is just one, and again, not that one piece makes downtown happen. This is just a general concept talking about parking, right? And parking can be part of that beautification, how it's designed, how it comes together, how it functions as a space where you can bring people to the downtown, how they can park, how they can maneuver and have connectivity through the downtown, but it can also add to how the downtown looks and how it functions over time. With that same theme, with connectivity, we know that we've got a lot of residential area that surrounds what we kind of refer to as the core part of the downtown, or where more of your commercial activity might occur. And we've incorporated that into parts and portions of the downtown boundary. And we recognize that those communities are an important part of how downtown will work over time. And so some of the elements that you might think of when you think of connectivity would be sidewalks, multi-use paths, but in lieu of just perhaps having just a sidewalk, having elements with benches or street furniture along the way, having elements of shade along the way where you can rest for a moment as you're making that journey from a residential area into the downtown. So again, just some elements in addition to the physical parts of what could be applied on the ground, the functional purposes of those pieces as well. Another big component of any place, especially your downtown, is creating or developing that sense of place. There's places that we travel to or go to on vacations, and you always remember that. You got there and there was just something about it that just felt different from where you were, just a moment ago. And that's an extremely crucial part of how downtown will really identify or develop its identity. It'll be that sense of place. And that can happen through a number of things. It can happen through your landscaping. We'll talk in a moment about facades, but how the buildings and everything look, all the way down to the street furniture and the signage and the lighting, having a unified infrastructure that is different in this area than it may be in other areas. You see that sometimes in historic districts where the street signs, they go from the traditional standard sign that we see in Florida, which is green, to something that's maybe brown, has a little ornateness to it, and it might even have a logo on it as well, like a caladium or something that says, oh wow, I'm in a different place, what is this? So it's all of those elements that come together to try to help create and develop that sense of place. Just looking at a few concepts that we had put together using some photographs in the downtown. This is one that would look at potential design standards and facade improvements. This is not to say this is how this would come together, but it's just to give a general idea or a concept of how, when we look at the downtown today, and we know that there's areas where we've got large expanses of right-of-way, lots of pavement, it almost kind of screams that this is really geared towards vehicles and cars. And while we don't want to get rid of the vehicle and the car, we need to work with the vehicle and the car to get to the downtown. We also want to think about it as a place for people. And so the picture on the left is a picture today. And what you see on the right is, again, just a concept, just an idea to show how improvements can be made with your landscaping, with your signage, with some facade improvements, and how all of these upgrades can come together to generate what downtown might look like. And some of that might be through development standards in your land development code over time, things like awnings, facade materials, window treatments. It doesn't need to say that this is exactly how it needs to look, but it gives those parameters. We like to say that it's strict but flexible, right? We want to see these things because we know that they add to the downtown, that sense of place, but we're going to let you kind of do it how you want to do it with your own interpretation of how your building and how your business might look as part of that. Again, just another concept here when we talk about streetscaping. Again, when we were talking about connectivity, streetscaping also plays an important role. Again, this is just a concept, existing picture on the left, but what could potentially be on the right? We've taken an area that really is a car-centric kind of design with a large right-of-way open space that's got some general median down the middle, but really enhancing that and making it more of an area that even if you're driving through here, you're probably going to slow down. That's just kind of a human tendency. When we add the colors and the crosswalks and we add the bike lane, incorporating the parking still on the street, but having those improvements and some signage and lighting and additional landscaping in the median, when you bring all that together, it really starts to create that sense of place, but it also creates an opportunity as a streetscape to kind of slow people down a little bit as well. So form and function. Another concept that we will have in the plan as well will be parklets and pocket parks. And what you see here is a little bit bigger than probably what a parklet or a pocket park is. But it's, again, just a concept. But, taking some vacant properties that might be available and making those small wins or those small improvements. Now, again, that concept on the right is definitely a little detailed and probably more than just a small improvement. But you can take small pieces of property that maybe sit at key intersections. They can have beautification or landscaping in them with maybe a small bench that folks might want to sit down at. Maybe there's a water feature that's in there as well. But it's kind of a refuge as part of the connectivity through the downtown to take advantage of some of those smaller spaces that you have along the way. But they could also be something like you see on the right that might be a little bit bigger. It might be something that gets implemented as if it's got the right size to maybe have a pop-up market or something in there that also contributes to the downtown, but it's just something that happens maybe on an event basis. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about stormwater as an amenity. With a lot of the folks that I see in the room that have joined us with our workshops, I definitely talked about this quite a bit. and tried to get a lot of input from folks and what their thoughts were. But when we think of stormwater as an amenity, again, it's really a form and a function element, right? The opportunities to provide a functional system in your downtown that also looks really nice and can be perhaps an area that, in this concept, where you might sit next to it, it looks nice. It could even be a park that serves as a feature that people want to come down to and spend time at and just relax. But it has a functional side to it too, where it serves as your stormwater. So one of the elements that we'd like to present in the plan is looking at a master stormwater plan for the downtown. One of the opportunities for that, as you all know, in Florida, any site that develops, we typically see that area that's kind of shoved off into the corner, and it just, we call them stormwater ponds, and it just kind of sits there. Sometimes it's fenced. It's needed. We know that it's needed. When you have a master stormwater system, maybe there's an opportunity to provide a larger area for stormwater for the downtown. Again, that looks and functions like a stormwater pond, but actually has more beautification to it. But it also can have a benefit to the property owners and the development in downtown over time, where we've got a master stormwater system you can connect into, so we don't need to put all of that stormwater on each individual lot over time. That becomes tax revenue. Stormwater ponds don't typically generate tax revenue. We want more of the development on the site in the downtown to serve the downtown, to serve the community, and make it be an asset for us. So stormwater as an amenity is a great opportunity to kind of combine a number of different things, again, with form and function. Okay, and I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer to go through the goals real quick.
Oh, I
Or
didn't mean
no.
to, I didn't
Okay.
mean to
Or do you
take
wanna-
over, but
okay.
hold on, wait, there's more. How do you go back? Go back,
I don't know, I was just kind of,
go back, go back.
do we have a back thing?
There we go, okay. So I just had to jump in for a little comic relief. Does anybody see anything wrong with this image? So there's a pole in the bike lane. So we are making some edits to the plan, but we had caught that before. So yes, so we won't be riding our bike down that bike lane yet until we remove the light pole. But I do want to say that this type of design, Winter Haven is now implementing this in Arcadia downtown. So we also have some good examples in the region, some neighbors who are happy to share how they got funding and what path they pursued. But as Jeff said, it's a good use of space, but it does provide that amenity. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but this is why we haven't released the plan yet. We've got a little bit of editing to do yet, but I didn't mean to interrupt. I'll turn it over to you. Oops, wrong way.
Okay, these might look familiar to you. We've got a series of 8 goals, and we'll just kind of run through them briefly again with you all. This really is the basis for the plan. This is what we heard from the community, and so everything that you'll see in the plan really falls underneath each and every one of these goals. Again, the establishing a downtown identity and sense of place, first and foremost. Goal 2, supporting a cohesive, high-quality design and development. That would go back to facade improvements, looking at opportunities for amendments to the Land Development Code to really help emphasize and support that redevelopment in the downtown. Goal 3 being strengthen downtown as a vibrant community gathering place, knowing the number of parks that we already have today, the commercial businesses, but then also thinking about the residential areas and making sure that we bring that all together. It is a community gathering place for different types of social gathering opportunities. Goal 4 being promoting economic vitality and local business growth. So again, aside from just the physical improvements, but also working with the town, with other agencies, with funding opportunities to really work to help build that economic growth and development in the downtown over time. Goal 5 being to improve that walkability, connectivity, and mobility. Goal 6, enhancing quality of life and environmental stewardship. That could be and addresses a number of things in terms of being able to have that work, live, and play area in and around the downtown, but also serving the greater area of Lake Placid as well. And when we think about Lake Placid as a whole, and some of you at a few of the workshops might remember those maps where we kind of looked at the greater area of Lake Placid and what Lake Placid really serves. When we think about downtown, from one perspective, that this kind of is a growth center in the downtown that can really have a lot of viability. But when we think about maybe where some of that density is, and we had heard a lot about bringing some more residential maybe into the downtown, that also, when you have good planning in your core, it creates good conservation planning on your periphery as well. And we know that Lake Placid functions in that way, especially within the area of Highlands County that we're in. Goal 7, fostering those partnerships and implementation. Again, working with other communities, organizations, and other groups as part of the effort to build a better downtown Lake Placid. Goal 8 then also being that develop a master stormwater system, which we just talked about.
I just want to say on goal 7 and back to there's so much already in place. So we were very excited to work with you on the downtown master plan because you have that great sense of downtown. But just when you drive through, you see the little signs in the different rights of way, different businesses in Lake Placid and community groups that contribute to the beautification and to that sense of place already. So I just wanted to say number 7, you've already got so much going on. It's just continuing to build upon that. And that's true of the entire downtown, but I just couldn't help interrupt. But just so many good nuts and bolts already. It's just continuing to build.
Okay, so looking ahead, and I think this is the section where we're going to just kind of dive briefly into, how do we get there? And the 3 approaches that we believe is a start is those early action projects. What are the things that could be big wins? They don't necessarily have to cost a whole lot, but you can get them done quickly, and it shows that the town is invested in this. Like, we are ready to do this. So early action projects. What are those catalyst investments over time that can be applied to get some of the bigger things that we want to see in the downtown, in the different funding streams and opportunities that can serve that? And then those long-term infrastructure improvements when we think, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, what is downtown going to be? And what are those things that we have some time to work on as we move to the future? So what you'll see in the master plan, you'll see a series of these, I call them kind of cut sheets, if you will, that kind of breaks down those different projects, what the priorities of those projects are, a description of what they are, how they meet the goals that have been applied in the master plan, and then some of the steps to get there and what we see as potential time frames that it might take to achieve these projects. And then at the very bottom, you'll notice responsible parties and then potential funding opportunities or funding streams to meet those projects. So the first one here is downtown branding and wayfinding. I think Jennifer gave a good overview of that. I mean, that's really, again, key first and foremost. I mean, bringing people to the downtown, right? There's probably so many folks that might drive through Lake Placid on 27, and they don't even know that downtown is there. They might have heard of Lake Placid and where's downtown? I know it come through on 27, but that wayfinding, the gateway signage, it just draws attention. And these are some very low-hanging fruit types of opportunities that can be applied to bring that attention to downtown. Oops. Oh, can I go back? And again, this is just building off of that first cut sheet, the downtown gateway features. So again, a high priority, something that might be able to be done within the first couple years, looking at some of the funding opportunities that might be available to help do that. But again, these would be those identity markers as you come into the downtown, or to identify that downtown is this direction. Downtown Design Standards and Facade Improvement Program. So again, just kind of running through some of those things that I'd already mentioned in some of the earlier slides. But again, breaking that down, and you'll notice the majority of the first few of these, they all say high. It's hard to not quantify something as a high priority. But when you look at the time frame, we know that it's going to take a little bit longer, or there might be some different elements to get to what we need to get to implement that in a longer period of time. So to not discount that any of these things are low priorities, they're really, for all intent and purposes, really kind of high priority projects, and I think there's different ways to get there. But included in this one, just looking at step one, preparing downtown design standards. That might be something that then, as this moves through, there might be some opportunities to update the land development code to really support that, to having some of those design elements as we see things develop in the downtown, wanting those awnings or window treatments or those types of things. So could take maybe a year, it could take maybe 5 years, depending on the time frame to get those things done. But we didn't want to shortcut that any number one of these are not high priority. Streetscape and pilot corridors, again, outlining the steps of these, the time frame that might take. Sometimes there's additional coordination with these, especially if we're talking about areas out near 27, where we have to coordinate with DOT or other state agencies. But your transportation corridors are a little bit more intensive sometimes than maybe just applying, hey, we just want to do facade treatment. So some of the streetscaping opportunities might take a little bit longer, even though we recognize them as, so sorry, I keep doing that. It's high priority, but just having a time frame that might take a little bit longer. So these are just kind of realistic kind of goals, if you will, to meet these objectives. The parklets and outdoor dining and pop-up activation, that goes back to some of those areas where we might find along those connectivity routes where we might be able to provide some opportunities that help kind of create that continuity as downtown is doing its thing and we see where there's sidewalk gaps, might have some small improvements along the way, but bringing in some of these ideas of these parklet and outdoor pop-up activation areas. And then finally, we brought the one in also on stormwater master system. And we do recognize that this really is more of that long-term investment in the town. We put short to long-term here because I do believe as the town has shown us that they really want to bring the downtown to life. Like, this is something that the community really wants, and we see a value in this. One of those key things at the beginning is really going to be to put a stormwater master plan together. So to look at these types of improvements, we really need a plan. Just like we're putting the downtown master plan together, we need to kind of tackle that from the same angle when we think of stormwater as well. So there might be some opportunities in the more near term to look at preparing a stormwater master plan, but realizing that getting that type of infrastructure improvement in over time is probably going to take some time. And I think as we do with all of our communities, it takes a community, right? And I think we've seen that. I think we want to give a lot of kudos to the town. I think each and every one of us as staff have the puzzle pieces that we wear. I don't have mine on tonight, but every piece comes together, and it does take a community to make this happen. So with that, we will address any questions that you all might have on it this time.
I appreciate all the workshops. It was a lot of good feedback. I actually like this picture here. I've seen this in another in California, and all of these tiles are from kids drawing them.
Yep.
The school had the kids drew them, and then they put together just a beautiful art project like that. What do you see the next steps? This is a draft, so how do we get the feedback out to the community so that we can get any comments, and then we can tweak it? And maybe I'm jumping ahead, but it's kind of the next steps.
You're not. Yep.
So we're wrapping up this week, bringing these components into a website, which is linked to us, that we will link to the town. And the comment boxes will be there for folks to submit their comments on each of these aspects of the plan. So my dream would be to, we would be working to get that out by the end of this week, and then ask for comments by the end of the, sorry, I have to think, 1, 2, 3, April 3rd. April 3rd is that Friday, sorry, I think. So the 30th is Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, I think it's April 3rd. So that would be what we're working toward.
I like it, thank you. And what I really like is that you didn't just compile the platitudes and the comments. You were specific in the road forward, the tasks to be done. That'll help a lot than just having a study that sits on a shelf somewhere. And the facade improvements. It had been kind of a dream of mine for years to have something to dress up our downtown facades. So, thank you.
There's also an appendix which provides a number of different funding sources and resources as well. We also have an appendix. It's a fairly thick document. What will go on the website is similar to what you saw tonight. But there's an appendix. Many thanks to, over the years, Town Council for a guide for landscaping. There really is a plan very specific to this area. So as we look at downtown and we look at landscape plans, it's already in your code of ordinances, but also referencing it here in the downtown plan as well for guidance. So.
The other comment and question is, I mean, it's great, right? It's where we are today and where in the future, depending on the time and the money and the resources. So I would be interested in, you said Winter Haven, Arcadia, some of the others, is how did they go from the, yeah, this looks great, to implementing? I mean, is it a full-time project manager that then can manage it, bring it to council, get the approval, find the funds, et cetera? So, you know, a presentation, and we all agree, but then now putting it in place is going to be the challenge with resources, time, and money.
Let me just say one thing to that. I think it's a mix of that. I think in Winter Haven, there's I think a lot of folks have heard of the One Water project, right? And that is a master stormwater system. I mean, that is very utilities driven. So you might have some parts of this that are more departmental driven, or have someone that has an oversight on some of this. A lot of this, though, is really, it's a reference document. So when you all get approached by a developer, or there's a rezoning near the downtown, in addition to the comp plan and your land development code, you go, hey, we've got this master development plan too. How does that work, and how does that fit with the goals, the vision of the community when we went through this whole process, and where we see our vision moving forward? So I think it's also organic in a nature too, but it has the teeth for you guys to lean back on. I think it also serves as a document for additional funding opportunities as well. We've been through this process. We've vetted this out with the community. It's been adopted by this commission, by the town. So I think it's a mix. Some of it might have some more oversight, where others, it's really that planning document to help lean on, to show where our priorities might be over time.
Any questions from the audience for them while they're here? Come to the podium, please.
Jack Comley, 607 Sunset Point Drive. I just want to make sure that the stormwater portion of the project, which I understand that's a much longer term type solution, you know. We want to make sure that any of the shorter term type things that we do, like benches, additional grass areas, relocating streetlights, any of that kind of stuff, that we do that with the idea that it's not going to interfere with where the stormwater lines eventually have to go. In other words, even though we can't do the stormwater lines now, we may need to get a basic idea of what we want to do so that we don't do some of the short-term stuff and then have to relocate it or something in the future for the stormwater systems. Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. I want to thank them for all the work they're doing for us. It's been a long, drawn-out process, and I know we're not done yet, but again, thank you. Okay. We'll go to item 7, action agenda. A, presentation of new septic to sewer program.
Good evening, everyone. Going to give my daughter a minute here. She's assisting, handing out some frequently asked questions to help guide us along in our presentation tonight. And that's a hard one to follow up. Oh, sorry. Hang on, Lily. My apologies. That's going to be very difficult to follow up. How beautiful the town. Looks great. Okay. So good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Cooper, the town's Septic to Sewer Program Coordinator. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to present tonight. Tonight, I am very excited to introduce the Connect to Protect Lake Placid, a long-term structured septic to sewer program designed to protect our water resources while providing a clear and responsible path forward for our community. Connect to Protect is more than a project. It is a phased, criteria-based program that provides structure, fairness, and predictability for council staff and residents of Lake Placid moving forward with our wastewater improvements. There has been some recent discussion, including media coverage and so on and so forth, referencing several topics related to wastewater planning, such as funding, project areas, construction decisions, and other future considerations. Those are all extremely important topics, and they will absolutely be addressed as the program moves forward. However, the action before the council tonight is much more focused. Tonight's item is to consider approval of the Connect to Protect program framework. This framework establishes the structure the town will use to evaluate septic to sewer improvements over time. It provides the process for determining engineering needs, evaluating funding opportunities, identifying project phases based on objective criteria, and ultimately determining project costs before any construction decisions can be made. Approval tonight does not determine which neighborhoods will be connected, it does not establish cost, and it does not approve construction projects. It simply allows the town to begin the structured planning process necessary to make those decisions responsibly. To keep the information clear and organized, I'll walk through the program framework first. Many of the common questions surrounding septic to sewer planning are addressed throughout the presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any additional questions at the end of the presentation. We've also provided a short, frequently asked questions document for anyone in attendance that this document addresses several of the most common questions we've received while putting this plan together. With that, I'll walk you through the Connect to Protect program framework and how the program is designed to move forward. Tonight's presentation has three purposes. First, explain why this program is necessary. Second, to outline how it is structured and implemented. Third, to request council's approval to formally establish the Connect to Protect Lake Placid framework. No property owner is being asked to take action tonight. The presentation tonight is about understanding the structure and setting the framework for the responsible path forward. So how does Lake Placid fit into this? Lake Placid is located within the Lake Okeechobee watershed, which operates under the Basin Management Operation Plan, or as we like to refer to it as the BMAP. Communities within this watershed are a priority for nutrient reduction efforts and funding alignment. This designation supports our eligibility for grants, supports program justification, and provides long-term planning authority. Why this matters? This conversation did not start overnight. In fact, it has been going on for quite some time. Across Florida, communities are addressing excess nutrients that contribute to reoccurring blue-green algae blooms. These harmful conditions affect recreation, public confidence, property value, and local economies. Connect to Protect Lake Placid is about proactive planning, responding to documented conditions with a structured, transparent approach rather than waiting for problems to escalate. Many of you are aware Lake Placid, Lake June, along with all of our local lakes, are part of the Lake Okeechobee watershed, which enters our groundwater, and surface water does not stay isolated to Lake Placid only. Over time, it moves through a series of connected waterways, ultimately ending up in Lake Okeechobee and beyond. The state maintains a public real-time algae monitoring dashboard so residents can see current conditions for themselves. This program is built on documented data and transparency, not on assumptions. Why we need to take action now. Florida has taken legislative action and allocated grant funding because protecting water quality is not optional. It is a statewide priority. For Lake Placid, this is about protecting our future. It protects water quality and public health. It addresses aging septic systems before they become a larger issue. It supports long-term environmental sustainability, and it preserves the quality of life and defines our community. This program framework aligns with state law. Florida statutes authorize municipalities to require connection to central sewer once service becomes available. The town's ordinance simply provides a clear local process for implementing that authority, including written notice and a defined compliance period before any timeline begins. State law also establishes future nutrient reduction benchmarks that communities within the Lake Okeechobee watershed must work toward over time. Those benchmarks currently extend into 2030. This program positions Lake Placid to move forward in an orderly, phased manner rather than facing compressed timelines later. The question before us is not whether we respond, but how thoughtfully and proactively we do so. When we refer to the program, we mean a regional utility authority framework, not just construction. It includes planning. This project is ultimately going to be a minimum of 10 to 15 years. It consists of funding coordination, resident education, communication, installation, and state reporting. The Connect to Protect program is designed to support residents, not to surprise them. The core principles of our program are built on a partnership with property owners, criteria-based selection, clear communication before, during, and after work, ultimately providing a full-service turnkey installation. Every phase and project will follow the same standards and expectations. This program reflects septic to sewer models that have already been implemented successfully in other Florida communities, and it is tailored for Lake Placid's size and infrastructure. The focus remains consistent: protect water quality, maintain transparency, implement this in phases, and communicate clearly with residents at every step of the way. As of today, we currently have 34 municipalities that are in the transition of going from septic to sewer. I do have a list of those. If you're interested later, we can go over a couple of them. A big part of this program is taken from Martin County, which has been very successful in their implementation of their Connect to Protect program. So each neighborhood represents a defined phase or project. Phases align funding, engineering readiness, existing infrastructure, council oversight, which will be maintained at each phase, outreach to the community, and all progress will be tracked and reported. The Connect to Protect Lake Placid program follows a clear 7-step structure. Step 1 is program readiness, making sure funding, engineering, and legal frameworks are in place before we move forward. Steps 2 and 3 focus on community awareness and education and engagement. This ensures residents understand the process before any work begins. Step 4 is property-specific coordination, where we partner with individual property owners so that timelines and expectations are clearly defined. Step 5 is construction, which includes the installation and inspections. Step 6 is connection and transition, when systems are activated and existing septic tanks are properly abandoned. And finally, step 7 is completion and closeout, property restoration, and final sign-off. Each phase builds on the one before it. Nothing moves ahead without the prior step being completed. So how are these phasic and project areas selected? Let me go back. Project areas will be selected using objective criteria, including infrastructure proximity, environmental impact, septic density and condition, proximity to bodies of water, constructability, grant eligibility, and selection is data-driven and repeatable. Tracking and accountability. Lake Placid uses more than one wastewater collection method. Some areas are suited for gravity sewer. Others require low-pressure grinder pump systems due to the terrain and groundwater conditions. Technology selection is based on physical feasibility and long-term reliability, not preference. Connecting to sewer eliminates nutrient discharge at the source by transporting wastewater away for centralized treatment instead of dispersing into the surrounding soil. Somehow we cover that one. Okay. So the image before you shows gravity versus pressure. These systems are different in multiple factors. On the left is the traditional gravity system. Gravity lines are typically installed much deeper in the ground. Sometimes they could be as deep as 15 to 20 feet underground. That means more excavation, more construction, and ultimately more restoration work. On the right, you'll see a low pressure system. These lines are much smaller, shallower, and generally around 2 to 4 feet deep. Because they don't rely on natural slope, they can be easier to install in areas with flat terrain, high groundwater, or challenging layouts. The key point is that system selection is based on physical conditions, not preference. We use the method that makes the most sense for the environment. So you might be asking, why septic to sewer? With sewer, wastewater is carried away from the home to a treatment facility designated to handle it at a much larger scale. The goal is simply to provide a long-term solution that helps protect communities' water and keeps our systems reliable for the homeowner. The next image you'll see here is a traditional gravity sewer system. This diagram lays out how water flows from the home through a sloped sewer lateral, moves naturally downhill into the public water sewer main. There are no pumps on the property. The system relies on elevation and slope. It's simple, reliable, and works well in areas where the terrain allows for it. On this next slide, you'll see an image of a low-pressure grinder pump installation. In these particular systems, wastewater flows into a buried tank where the grinder pump automatically activates and moves any debris through a small service line to the public sewer main. The wall-mounted control panel monitors the system. The pump is compact, underground, and designed for reliable operation. This next slide is a short video. I'm going to see if the volume plays for this one. But this goes ahead and kind of gives you an overview of what a low pressure system would look like based on elevation, soil conditions, and groundwater levels. Sometimes going with low pressure is often the only route possible. So this particular video is going to highlight the E1 grinder pump, which is the company that at this point the town of Lake Placid has decided to utilize for this construction phase. So let's see if we can get some volume on this. Are you able to turn it up over there? I can go ahead, I'll narrate just a little bit. What they're showing you here, that was an example of an actual grinder pump. And this is just showing the effectiveness of how easily it is to install a grinder pump, no matter what the elevation or terrain looks like. These are really nice because if you have a beautiful yard with a lot of trees, sidewalks, and other types of beautification, we're able to bring in the smaller piping and work around it. This is showing you how it breaks down waste, and it moves through a very small pipe that connects to the larger city main. Some of these will move into other larger low pressure lines, and some of these pressure lines will connect to an existing gravity line. if that's the infrastructure that is closest. So we'll go ahead and just bypass that. So recently, we have 2 homes under construction, and they installed 2 of the E1 grinder pumps, and we were able to go out and get a couple of pictures. So this is here in Lake Placid, and kind of gives you, again, this is new construction prior to any grass being laid, but very, very simple installation. Once it is completed, there will be a round, you'll see what it'll look like there. It's about 5 inches above ground level, and very low key, doesn't stick out very far. But that is ultimately what it would look like at the end. So one of the keys here with our Connect to Protect program is we want to make it essential that we are partnering with the property owners. The town will manage the design and construction. Residents will be supported at each step. The responsibilities will be clearly communicated. And the shared goal is protecting health, local waters, and overall community quality of life. We all love our lakes here. To the next one. So what our residents can expect going through this experience. Residents receive multiple advanced written notices, and clear timelines will be given before any type of construction begins. No one will be surprised by any construction activity. The town manages coordination from start to finish, scheduling contractors, inspections, and communication. The goal is minimal disruption. Work areas are restored once installation is complete. At the end of the project, the property has completed sewer service, fully operational, and transitioned from septic. The process is structured so residents are informed, supported, and not left navigating anything alone. Another one of our goals with Connect to Protect is consistency for our homeowners. Consistency is essential to maintaining public trust. Every home will move through the same process and under the same standards. Cost should not depend on where a neighborhood is reached or how phases are sequenced. At this time, final costs have not been determined. We cannot responsibly calculate those numbers until Connect to Protect is formally approved, and we are able to move into the engineering design, contractor bidding, and grant alignment phase. Establishing the program framework first allows us to determine cost accurately and fairly rather than speculating prematurely. Residents deserve predictable expectations, and consistent standards will reduce any confusion and protect everyone over long term. Our goal is to provide turnkey installation, and by that we mean we will coordinate the entire process from start to finish. That includes installing the control panel on the exterior of your home, placing the grinder pump unit, connecting the home to the public sewer, completing the inspections, activating the system, properly abandoning the old septic tank. Each step is structured and managed the same way for every home. The goal is simple, a consistent, organized experience that minimizes disruption and ensures residents are not left navigating the process on their own. Once we have our system up and running, we will have a very simple process for connection. This will be located on our website, and we are working on a new one. So when the time comes, the connection process will be structured and clearly defined. It begins with completing the required paperwork, which will be available through a dedicated link on the town's website. There will be a one-time deposit fee that will be submitted at that time. From there, residents will be contacted to schedule a pre-inspection appointment that will be conducted with the plumbing and electrical contractor, as well as a town representative. Complete installation, again, it includes a wall-mounted control panel, placement of the grinder pump, connection to the sewer service lines, and abandoning the existing septic tank. Somehow my got off. Okay. So communication commitments. It is extremely important to us that we are transparent, and everything that is going on with this program will be on our website. There will be notices, training events, workshops. Our goal is to partner. So again, there will be no surprises. All residents will have advanced notification. There will be consistent townwide messaging, clear points of contact, and all residents will be informed before any construction begins. So education, transparency, and communication. They are built into every phase of this program. We will hold public meetings and workshops so residents can ask questions and understand the process before construction begins. Written notices and updates will be provided at defined stages so timelines are clear. Program information will be accessible both online and through direct contact with town staff. Most importantly, this is not one-way communication. Residents will have the opportunity to ask questions, raise concerns, and receive responses throughout the entire process. Transparency reduces uncertainty, and clear communication builds confidence. So in summary, as we bring this together, Connect to Protect is a structured, phased, septic to sewer program, not a one-time construction project. It responds to documented water quality conditions and aligns with state law while giving Lake Placid a clear and organized path forward. Each phase is selected using objective criteria and includes education, communication, and resident partnership before any construction begins. Again, our goal is to fulfill a turnkey installation, ensuring that every property moves through the same defined process, creating consistency and fairness across neighborhoods. Council action tonight enables responsible, transparent progress with structure, not uncertainty. So I just want to reiterate the importance for what residents can expect. So in closing this portion, I want to stress that we will provide clear communication and individual coordination. They are built into this program. There will be direct outreach from the town before any work begins. Each property is coordinated individually with defined steps, defined timelines, and clear expectations. Residents will know what is happening, when it is happening, and who they need to contact for any type of support. No one will be left navigating this transition alone. The goal is confidence and clarity at every stage. I want to be very clear that Connect to Protect Lake Placid is not an immediate town mandate. It is not a decision affecting every homeowner, and this is not a tax increase. And most importantly, it does not require any immediate action tonight. Looking ahead, this program is designed to grow thoughtfully and responsibly. As infrastructure and funding align, we will expand into additional neighborhoods using the same criteria-based structure. We will continue pursuing grant opportunities to reduce financial impact whenever and wherever possible. Resident engagement does not end with installation. It remains ongoing throughout each phase. Our goal is to build a model program that other Florida Lake communities can look to as an example of how to move forward with structure, transparency, and partnership. This is about positioning Lake Placid for long-term success. So what your approval tonight for this program enables is to give this program a structured framework. It does not authorize immediate construction in any neighborhood. It does not create new obligations beyond adopting the program structure. Your approval allows us to move forward with coordinating for more grants, aligning utilities planning, defining our projects and phases, and continuing outreach in an organized manner. In short, council approval establishes clarity and structure, not sudden change. It creates a long-term, consistent solution that can be implemented thoughtfully over time. And in closing, as I conclude the overview of the Connect to Protect program framework, I want to briefly return to the purpose of what has been presented tonight. Connect to Protect establishes a structured program framework that allows Lake Placid to move forward with septic to sewer planning in an organized and transparent way. Approval of framework tonight simply allows the town to begin the detailed work necessary to evaluate engineering needs, funding opportunities, and project phases using objective criteria. Those steps are what allow the town to determine accurate costs and responsible project sequencing before any construction decisions are made. So the action before council tonight is focused specifically on establishing the Connect to Protect Lake Placid program framework, which allows those evaluations to occur. Approving the program framework does not authorize spending. It simply allows the town to determine what responsible cost would actually be and ensure fiscal accountability. Without a structured program framework, the town has no organized process for evaluating engineering, funding, or environmental priorities. I want to thank you all for your time and your consideration this evening. And if anyone has any further questions?
I do. Both you and Mr. Warner were not here when there was a special meeting called, I think was it August 23rd of 2023. It's on the YouTube channel. When there was talk of putting in the low-pressure system, this hall was filled to capacity. People were turned away because there was no more room. They were not happy with the low-pressure system whatsoever. So you should probably review that YouTube video if you haven't.
I have watched that video.
Okay, it's at the 1 hour and 33-minute mark is when it starts. It bothers me that this seems to be geared towards low pressure with very little mention of the gravity system. I would like you to flesh this out to show that you will do a complete life cycle cost analysis of both systems. I mean, mention that that will be part of this. And that includes the cost of sending people around to pump out the low-pressure systems in the event of a hurricane and there's a power outage. People were expected to buy their own generators, and that was unacceptable. Just the way this is slanted, it's towards the low-pressure system.
Yes, ma'am. My focus is septic to sewer coordination, but our goal is to find the solution that best fits each individual property. I am currently going through and looking at what wastewater lines are available, and it will require an on-site evaluation to ensure that if gravity is possible, then we would by all means go in that direction.
Okay, but if you just make it clear that your analysis is going to include the full life cycle cost and not just the upfront construction cost or the convenience versus the inconvenience, it's not apparent that that's going to go on according to this. I don't want people to get the wrong impression that you're dead set on low pressure.
Oh, no, ma'am, that was not the goal. This simply is so we have a program framework so that we can come together and, again, build out all of those essential criteria, which areas are going to be eligible for gravity, which ones are going to be required to go on low pressure. Every neighborhood will be evaluated for the best fit model. We've talked about hurricanes and loss of power. In the case of these particular systems, they do come with a connection, and I know generators was an issue. In the planning, we will have staff that will be going around every day, and they will be connecting and pumping out those systems.
Yeah, but I did the math on that. There's going to be a breaking point where you will not have enough staff to service everybody. If you figure so many hours per pump out, so many people, there's no way you're going to have, even to pulling them in from outside. Anyway, I don't want to belabor it here, but perception on this presentation, we got to kind of tweak the perception a little bit. And then also you said communications, but the perception, what I got from this is that you're going to have educational workshops and you're going to tell them here's what's going to happen, so on and so forth. You need to put in here, it's going to be a two-way conversation, not a sit down, here's what we're going to do to you. So just clean, I mean, it's perception.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to have workshops on this and everything else. We're just trying to get a framework from the ground up so we can start having our workshops, talking to the community. We don't have one set up in the town yet.
Okay.
So this is all we're asking for is approval of the structure from a high altitude. Nothing's been decided on anything. We're going to have workshops with LUPRAC, planning, town council, and then we'll work through these other things. That's where you'll get we can come to the understanding of cost and all the small details. But right now, we don't have a program, so we just want to get a approval just to start the program based on presentation, and then as we move forward, lots of workshops, a lot of education, and then we'll move forward from there.
Yeah. Okay.
LUPRAC has approved this already, last meeting. Like I said, this is just a high altitude, just overview, just starting a program. That way we can start investigating some financing, grants, everything.
Okay. And then I sent you an email this morning. I don't know if you saw it. I just said I didn't want to blindside you, but I just found out today there is a third alternative that I think Indian River and 2 other places have installed it. And it's rather than the 100-gallon holding tank that the E1 has, it's called a STEM system, septic tank effluent system. They put in a 1,000-gallon tank And then it works on the same principle as your conventional septic tank. Solids go to the bottom. The pumps are only pumping the semi-clear effluent. So the wear and tear on the pumps and the clogging and the breakage is far less than using a grinder pump. And then the other thing was you get with a 1,000-gallon tank, you have more holding capacity. And if your septic tank is new or proven to be in good condition, they can put this pump in your existing tank and not have to destroy it. So maybe add a third one to your list of options.
Well, again, during the workshops, we can discuss this. Nothing's set in stone. I haven't heard of this system, but like I said, getting the program started. That's all we're trying to do, get the workshops. That could be a viable option, and then that could be a third option, but that's something in the workshops we'll discuss.
So I'll just, real quick, it's the city of Vero Beach, Indian River, and Marion County. The Vero Beach has 1,500 plus systems of this nature, and I don't have the numbers
Yeah,
for
like I
the
said,
others.
we can investigate it and see what the process is. Like I said, this is just getting the program going. But right now, we've received some grants for the 319 on private property. We're just trying to get going. But during these workshops, under the direction of LUPRAC, Town Council, this is what we're going to work through. And then once we come to the understanding of all the process, education starting. So, like I said, we don't have a program. We just want to start one. This is just the structure of one.
Yes, this is not meant to make any commitments on contractors, systems, any of that. This is simply to create a structured program so that we can begin having those discussions. We can send out for bid requests. We can start pricing items. A lot of these grants, they want to know that we do have a structured program in place and a commitment towards building, out. So this puts us in a good position for that. And that's our ultimate goal, is to kind of get that leg up and have that, show them that we are committed and we are wanting to. We have an amazing new wastewater treatment plant, and the goal is to bring as many homes off of septic as possible in whichever manner is best suited for each individual property. So this does not by any means say that you must go to low pressure. My title is septic to sewer, so it does, weigh heavier on that side, but absolutely every individual property will be assessed for the best suited fit for them.
I think the real fear is that we didn't have a program before. We didn't have a program. Everybody just was told what's going to happen, and that did not go well, to say the least. It did not go well, and everybody's terrified that that would happen again. I think that's the real fear here, is that people don't want to go through that again. But I believe in having a program where things can be brought forward and discussed. And I'd be very disappointed if that doesn't happen, but this is a program, so that never happens again. So we don't just get a surprise, oh, guess what's going to happen to you? Well, wow, really? And so this will be a process where people will give input, and it will be explained to them, maybe some options. And that's my understanding of having this program, is that it's inviting the public to participate instead of just being told this is what's going to happen to you. And then, no, I don't, why? And I mean, we're Americans, we don't accept that very well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first got here, that was the first thing I did, is I went back and I watched council meeting after council meeting and rewatched, and I learned and paid attention to the concerns of the residents here, to the concerns of council. And absolutely, I have those concerns as well. So I understand the fear, and that's the whole purpose and our goal here, is we want people to know that we're not going to surprise them, we're not going to force anything on them. But we do need to have some type of structure in place so that we can bring together people and start discussing how are we going to go for more grant money, how are we going to...
I understand. I support doing this because we're planning again. We're actually going to plan something instead of just go down the road without any plan at all. So I think this is going to be more efficient, probably cost saving, and definitely better for the public.
I have a few questions. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
I don't want y'all to think that she just came from somewhere else. She's from here. She knows this area.
Yes, sir.
How about tree root intrusion on these pumps that you put in the ground?
For the low pressure?
Yes.
So that's another beautiful thing about it, because they are flexible. So if you have standing trees, and these pipes are able to go right around them, snake around them. And the other nice thing is when they come in and they trench, it's very shallow, and they literally will lift and kind of fold over,
Okay.
and they'll put their piping in, and then they kind of just lay it right back over and put it down. But it gives a lot more flexibility, especially people, sidewalks and driveways. We can do directional boring right underneath, and you wouldn't even know that we were there when the project is done.
Okay.
But your question about roots getting into it, there's no seams in it like the old clay pipes. It's a solid PVC or poly, so there is no root intrusion in them.
Okay, thank you. How much does this cost the homeowner, and would each home be the same amount of money or about the same?
So we have not been able to determine the cost yet, because we have to go out for bid and
Sure.
things like that. So, and that's another thing to discuss. Ultimately, in my opinion only, is that whatever the cost does end up being, it should be the same for everyone.
Okay.
I've also looked into, I've done a lot of research for low income, because I know a lot of people are on fixed low income, and that's a struggle. I'm a single mom, I get it. So I've done a lot of research into grants and assistance for those specific situations. And the one that I find very appealing, it's a SHIP grant, SHIP. And for instance, an example, if you're 62 or over, and depending on how many residents are in your home, and say your yearly income is $28,000, if I recall correctly, you can qualify for up to $30,000 on this SHIP grant. And their 1 and 2 priorities are roofing and transitioning septic to sewer. And another beautiful part about it is if you are homesteaded and you stay in that property for 10 years, that is forgiven, that loan is forgiven.
Great, cool.
So there are a lot of opportunities for homeowners that they can access, but as a regional utility, they're not open to us. But part of my role would be to work with everybody individually and assist them in applying for any type of grant they could get to offset that charge.
Okay. What is the one-time deposit fee? What is that for? What is it?
The one, I'm sorry.
On one of those slides, there was a one-time deposit fee. when you-
The deposit fee, I believe, is that $50? $50 deposit for a standard
I didn't think we
connection?
had that put together. That would be discussed in a workshop.
Okay.
It's just, guarantee they're going to do their paperwork and get everything in. That's all.
It's based off of if
Martin
somebody
counties.
moves in and starts service with us, they pay a one-time deposit fee. That's what that is.
Okay, and would the homeowners have the choice of gravity or grinder, or does Connect to Protect make that decision for them?
No, that decision is made on elevation of the home. So you're down by a lake, you can't make water run uphill. That would be a grinder. If you're in an area, they'd have to, it's unknown, you have to get a plumber out and let you know if you have enough slope, if it's a septic. A gravity. So each home's going to has to be individually evaluated if they can gravity or low pressure. It just depends on the elevation of the house. You have to have a certain degree of slope for gravity. And if they're flat, they can't do it. It'll have to be a grind pump.
I just remember when we had all these people here, and they were saying about that they didn't want this pump, or they didn't want that pump, or whatever it was, and they yelled at us, and they threatened us, and they were not nice
I
at
watched
all.
that like 2 or 3 times,
Yeah, they were
that
not nice
particular
at all.
one.
And it seemed to me like, I kind of made that point too, that, I'm no expert, but I do have a biology major, and I know that gravity goes down and water doesn't go up. And they weren't really open to that concept. So just saying, I think it will be important. I think it's important for Connect to Protect to make that decision for each property based on facts.
Yes.
But I think it's important that they convince that property that that is the best thing for them.
And that would be, that is key for infrastructure and how it is evaluated on exactly what type of system you would be getting. Because obviously, if your house is 6 feet below the roadway, there's not going to be too many options on which direction.
It seemed obvious to me. It did not seem obvious to them, so.
Right.
But some areas, 90% of them are below grade, that would be a low pressure. If you got maybe 80% up there, they could get the slope, it could be gravity, because you can attach low pressure to a gravity main. So
Right.
each area is going to have to be assessed,
Okay.
just see the feasibility and, density of gravity, low pressure, if you got 75% that's all low grade, it's going to be grinder. If you got like 50 to 70% that can get gravity, then it'll be gravity.
Okay.
Depending if the cost of putting gravity in that area, depending on groundwater, it all has to be evaluated, so.
Well, I like the idea of the program. I think it's really good, and it has a lot of good components to it, and it seems to be very transparent. I think it would be excellent. My wish is that we could get grants for everyone to cover at least some part, or if not all, of their connection. And it seems like, Charlotte, don't we have something in the works for 33 homes already that would cover that? And I just think it's so important that we've built this wonderful wastewater treatment facility, and now we would have people that we are going to put into a financial bind by asking them to connect to it, and I don't think we should do that. If we possibly can, get grants to cover all of the costs of this for people to be able to hook up.
Completely agree 100%, and I am going to be searching for every grant that we could possibly apply for. That's part of it, and using it in the best way. And we just can't guarantee that there will always be grant funding there, which is why I think it is key that when we do sit down and we discuss the overall cost of installation, that it is equal for all.
And I think having this type of a situation, this type of a program in place might give us a leg up on getting some of those grants.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I appreciate the presentation, very in-depth. very thoughtful and informational. And because this is such a significant infrastructure project for our town, you know, first the 40 million, and now we're entering the phase of hooking up. I was hoping, though, just to kind of back up, based on the last meeting, to get an update of the $40 million, where are we with the overall sewer plant? And so that's something that I would like, if it can be next week's meeting or what. It's just the overall $40 million grant that we have, and a couple other grants that we have received for lift stations and that. What's the overall status of related to costs, budget, and then the risks? Where this one is a little possibly confusing is trying to move away from what we've done to date in presenting to the town on septic to sewer, and now we're changing it to connect to protect. There has been a lot of prior work that was done with cost, estimated cost. There were 9 different areas that were going to be hooked up. These are the cost of gravity versus grinder pump. And so the estimated costs are, of course, of interest to a lot of our taxpayers, whether it's what they have to pay or what the town has to pay, because somehow the town paying for it eventually equates to them. But this is beyond just the town. There's a lot of county folks that have been involved.
Yes.
So the questions that I have, and I don't expect them to be answered tonight, is how you move away from what we've committed to DEP with all of our other presentations of these are the areas we're going to hook up. Second, we as a town council, I've been 2 years, but the council prior and myself, there's been decisions made and commitments made and resolutions made. So how do those change now that we're evolving to something different? What have we committed to DEP? We need to look at that, and how are we changing it? Because originally I think it was 3,600 homes and it was 2,600 homes, and it worked its way down. What are the estimated costs on the new force mains and the connection lines, right? We've got a sewer plant, and now we want to connect. Well, there's the force main lines, and I'm not good on the terminology, but up to getting to the residents, what are those costs? And then a lot of it's going to be, what are the costs per household to hook up? So I'm curious, you said you've hooked up 2 homes, you showed 2 homes. How much was that cost to hook them up?
The contractor actually did that, so I don't know. I know they paid our connection fee for Lake Placid.
Gratuitous, or is that just coming back to us? I can't believe the contractor just...
No, they hired their own contractor.
I'm sorry.
They hired their own contractor. They paid the development fee, tap fees. Whatever's stated in code, that's what they paid. They hired a contractor to install.
Who is
The homeowners. We have no policy if they want to hooked up. That's the only way they could do. They had to purchase the grind station, paid the contractor, and paid development fees, tap fees to the town. Just like hooking up to any sewer system.
They is who?
The homeowner.
So what was the homeowner's cost of these 2?
I don't know what the development fee and the tap fees. Leanne, do you know basically what they were? If you give us a couple minutes,
So, and who was the contractor, Pannoni, that did this?
No. They hired their own contractor.
And so they just absorbed the cost themselves, nothing to the town?
Right, because they had to hook up to the sewer they wanted to hook. They had to hire the contractor, buy the grind system, and hook it up themselves.
Again, they is the property owner?
Hired the contractor, yes.
So which properties are those?
They were on
Marquata.
down by Green Dragon. There's 2 properties.
There's 2 properties. So if somebody wanted to see what a finished grinder pump and landscaping looks like.
That was the picture she was showing you.
It's
Right.
right by the track.
Yep.
Yeah,
high
it's
school.
at the corner of Marquata
Okay.
and Green Dragon by the new lift station.
So what are the estimated costs per household? As Councilwoman Hayes said, it's a big interest. I mean, a lot of people came, And I didn't hear a lot against a sewer project. It's how much is it going to cost me personally? So that
Well,
is, and I mean, those estimated costs.
That's what we have to work out in the workshops. Once we
Correct.
figure out the grants, we have to go out for bids for contractors to do the work and stuff. So that's a workshop. Like right now, we're just, as soon as if we get approval, we can start putting a bid package out for contractors. Jennifer can start looking better at these grants for the homeowners, things like that. But we just have to have permission to move forward with this project. All this cost and everything will be discussed with town council and LUPRAC at a workshop. We'll sit down and work it out and see which way council wants to go with it. So,
I mean, how would you know how many pumps to go out to bid for if we don't know how
Right.
many homes are going to be impacted?
well, if we go off the bid, they'll just have to give us a price based on so much footage. It's just a basic, say 80-foot installed grind pump, abandoned septic tank, do electrical. Anything over the footage or more electrical, there'll be a larger cost, but it'll be a base price. That's how they do it over in Martin County. I put in, when I went for the 319 grant, I put $15,000 down. It could be from 10 to 15, but we don't know until we go out for bids and get the prices.
And those are the things that we would be putting in writing in a fee structure. And again, like he said, the base typical, you're looking at 80 to 100 on the long stretch to connect from the station to the city main. But so that would be what we would be basing the cost on. If a home happens to be 150 feet away, then we would have to set an additional charge per foot beyond the base of whichever the committee goes with. Same with the running the electric line as well. So it would be a basic, and if it's beyond, then that additional cost would go to the homeowner.
I mean, so overall, of course, I support a structured program, but I'm still not certain how we're evolving from what we've told DEP, what we've told the residents, and now we're going to go out to bid. I would like to see some type of here's what we said, but here's where we are now. Maybe we don't have the estimated cost, but we did have a list of 9 different areas of homeowners. It would be nice also to have separate meetings with them early on what issues they have versus a large 400 people come to a meeting and we couldn't get through a lot. So that's kind of where I'm at. I would like to know what the total costs of the sewer plant today are, and then also what are the commitments that we've made, and just answers to a lot of these questions before we go forward. I don't know if that's something you can come back at next week's meeting, give us an update on, or what?
We can find out where we're at on grants that we have started utilizing. There's some that we have not yet started, like the 319 specifically. But other ones, we are working on getting exactly where we're at and what expenditures have gone out and what is still remaining. So we are gathering that data as we speak. In terms of the original areas that were selected, that was part of the wastewater plant, and they're going to get into all of that as well. Not all of those are going to have the funding left based on the increases over time during that construction. But one of the other main priorities of once we get this approved is to now start looking at our infrastructure. Where is it possible for us to even start doing these installations? Because if we don't have wastewater pipes running anywhere, then so we've got to, that's a big goal, is figuring out where, setting up these projects. We can put timelines on them. If we look at like Martin County and others, of course, they're very far into it. But my goal in my head is that on our website, we would have 26, 27, we are on this project, this phase, estimated completion, years 27, 28, we're coming here, here, and here. So that is what we want to do once we can sit down and actually do that. And it's going to take several meetings and get-togethers, and but that is the goal, is to lay out a plan of where, and then how much is it going to cost.
Councilwoman Charles, Eva is working on compiling all of the excerpts from the previous meetings, because as we've stated before, we have cut back on the project, and so the original that was originally in there in the first grant, they have been changed, and even some of the specific areas have been redacted totally. So she's been compiling that. She just didn't have it ready for this evening, so that will be forthcoming.
I think that it's very confusing for people to think we've got projects going and that this program is moving forward. This will help us move forward with the money we're going to have left to use in our new grants. But how many people in here are on sewer, town sewer? Okay. I know. I'm the winner, but
There's
I didn't win.
29%.
Okay, let me tell you what happened. And this is why we should have this program. Okay? It was not decided by me what kind of sewer I got in front of my property. I was told, and it just appeared, that was it, and this is what it's going to cost or whatever. So we're on the top of the ridge. Hartzell's is about 2 feet higher than me. We should have had gravity downtown. We don't. We have low pressure. That is the place you could have used gravity, but instead it's all low pressure lines. There was no input, no one to talk to. I would have preferred gravity, but I drank the Kool-Aid and I went ahead and hooked in because I was trying to do the right thing. But I'm just telling you that was a disaster. This is a program moving forward with the monies that we have and the grant money we have and the money we have left over from the construction to involve the public so they don't end up like me, the only one on sewer, on low pressure when it should have been gravity. This is a good program. I've been through it. We need a program.
Thank you.
I just have one more suggestion. Having experienced the last meeting, I would suggest that you have meetings by subdivision or by area, not one whole big meeting, because otherwise you're going to need the Ag Center and about 15 police. So if you just do
That was our plan.
yeah, one neighborhood at a time. Thank you.
Yeah, as it's determined that we have the infrastructure in place, then those people would be notified, and yeah, they would have personalized workshops, education. Yes.
Charlotte? This is just a brief thing I threw together this morning that compares the gravity, the low-pressure system, grinder pumps, and the new system that I emailed to Bert. And with your permission, I'll send it to you, and you can distribute it to the rest of the council. And then I would appreciate it if you added this third option, to your presentation. I still don't like low pressure.
I'm very curious to look into that
Okay,
myself. So.
I don't like low pressure, but if it has to be, then this would be a better alternative in my mind.
And that's the other thing, especially talking to St. John's and Martin, and they're into year 8, year 10, and technology has been advancing, and as it advances, they are moving towards the latest and greatest. And so I anticipate, again, when we're 8 years down the road, we'll probably face that same situation as well, and then do what's best at that time. and with what's available. So ever evolving for the best price and what's best for the homeowner and the town as a whole. That's our goal.
I guess now we're to public comment, but before we go on the motion options, we didn't see them till we got in tonight. So what was the one that staff is supporting? Is it option 1, 2, 3, or 4? Which one works the best as far as this program?
All 4 of them actually approve. They're just little contingencies in each one of them if something needed to be changed. So I just put it together that way. So you had...
Well, of course, we want the one that works the best with the public, keeps everybody informed, and is most cost-effective always. So, I mean, I'd have to study each one of them and try to find the nuances, I guess. But anyway, maybe we should just move on to the public, and maybe they have some ideas.
So what do you want to do? We don't have to have a motion in a second first? Yes, you should. That's what I thought.
So basically, we're just asking council for approval to start the structure of this program. That's,
Yeah.
Would you prefer just to do, to approve the Connect to Protect Lake Placid Program Framework as presented? That would be the simplest one without getting into because I think it outlines what you're allowed to do. And basically, it's got to come back to us anyway. Is that true?
yes, like I said,
Okay.
we're just looking for just permission to move forward with the program so we can start investigating bids for
Okay, well-
contractors, more grants for homeowners, just moving forward and getting workshops going. That's all we're asking for. And look, again, as LUPRAC approved this at our last meeting.
No. I need a motion in a second first.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the Connect to Protect Lake Placid Program Framework as presented.
Are you on option 1, 2, 3, or 4? Or did you make your own option?
I think without getting into the nuances of each one of these, I mean, I'm happy with the program. I mean, I read through it before we got here tonight, so I think all of this is just getting in the weeds. I mean, if you want me to add to that, I don't know, do you want to improve on the motion? I mean, I could put in here that, I think the first concern that I learned at the utility meeting was, is there money going to be spent? And I'm sure there's going to have to be some money spent, it's, even town time. But I think this is just to get us to the place we can compare different sewer, whether it's gravity or low pressure, perhaps the new program, to get us to the point we can even analyze. They need to analyze it enough so we can even go to the public to say which program would you like the best. So I would just make the motion to approve the Connect to Protect Lake Placid Program Framework as presented, what they presented tonight.
I'll second that.
You what? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the podium?
Where did Bert go? I just wanted to ask him, hey, Bert, you just made the comment that you need this approved so that you can start workshops? And those would be workshops with the different
Workshops
areas?
with town council, LUPRAC, so we can get some direction, and gives us the opportunity to start looking for grants and other things. Contractors put a bid together to get contracts to install and stuff, and present that, and then go out for bid. But what I put in as a recommendation, it was just to approve. I don't know where you guys are getting those three different options. So there's two agenda items on here?
Yes, and that's where I was going to...
No, I'm confused too.
I'm going to reach out to the attorney, because when we
Right.
came in, there was a piece of paper with 4 different options.
Yeah, 'cause
4
one-
different motions, which are different than what was in...
Yeah, what I
in the-
put in with Eva was just one, to approve program. That was the original agenda item.
Is there a 5th one? Oh, so there's 5 different motions were laid here that the public didn't see, that we didn't have it. And I think that's what the confusion is. What is the motion?
Okay, I think before the other meeting, I suggested the recommended motion is to approve program to move forward with 319 grant. And that's one they're looking at right now. But I had recommended at the utility meeting that to approve program to move forward with 319 grants with an S, and any other potential, what did I recommend? I don't bring it with me. In any future potential grant opportunities and projects. I think I put projects in there because sometimes we're not going to have grants for these projects. So it would be to approve program to move forward with 319 grants and other potential grants and programs for the, what's it called? For the Connect to Protect Lake Placid program framework as presented. Does that make sense, Eva?
It combines that motion
Yes.
and then your motion to move the, yeah.
Is that your second?
I don't have any idea what I'm seconding right at this moment. Could we try that again?
What's on the screen? This was the recommended original motion to approve program to move forward with 319 grant. They're looking at one grant right now, but we need to say this is going to be moving forward to 319 grants and any potential further grants or expansion projects using the Connect to Protect Lake Placid program framework as presented.
Okay, I'll second that. Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other comments from the podium?
Yes. Oh,
The 319 grant is what? I mean, we didn't talk about a 319 grant in this presentation. All we talked about was a structure. And so now the motion is to approve the structure and go forward with 319 grant. I would just ask that that grant comes back to council so we can see what are we asking for. Because I would think
We've
that
already
you
been
need
awarded.
money.
We've already been awarded that grant. That is just make connections on private property. We can strike.
Let's just leave out the 319 part.
That's what we
Let's just
decided at LUPRAC, leave the 319 out of it, and just move forward looking for grants
with grants
and other
And
programs, and just take the 319
and any
out.
future projects using the Connect to Protect Lake Placid program framework as presented.
Yeah, because that caused confusion at LUPRAC, so.
And that just, it doesn't exclude 319, but it just doesn't bring it to the forefront. Any grants or programs or future expansion.
And those would come back to council for review, approval, along with the attorney before submitted to DEP.
Well, we already have the 319 grant, but everything else is going to come back to you guys, correct? We have enough for, I think it was 33 connections, $480,000. We have been awarded, but we haven't received it yet. We haven't signed the papers. So that's why we're trying to get the program going, so we can take advantage of this grant and start doing some stuff with it.
And I do agree with you that it muddies the water, so let's just leave out the 319 and just go with program to move forward with grants and programs and future expansion using the Connect to Protect Lake Placid program framework as presented. That keeps it simple. Maybe.
Okay. I'll approve that as well, yes.
Okay. All right, being no other comments, we'll take it to the audience.
My name is Josephine Comley, 607 Sunset Point Drive. You can understand this is a little confusing to the taxpayers, as a taxpayer. Hearing you folks talk of it, and I want to just be absolutely certain, there are going to be workshops. You talked about workshops to talk about the phases and what's best for whatever area, whatever, correct? You're not making a decision on, okay, this,
No.
that. You're just making a decision on moving forward.
Just moving forward.
I just want to clarify that, because you can understand, we've been in the dark when this started 3 years ago.
And the way we had it set up, it's going to be done in phases.
Okay?
And I think depending on the grant money, that's going to determine the scope, how far we can go, how many we can maybe hook up, how much infrastructure we can put in. But we got to have a plan going first just to get started, and that's all we're doing.
Okay, that makes sense. And now, last month, someone stated, and maybe you said it, and I might have missed it, it was around $14.5 million. It seemed to be the remaining amount. Is that correct? Or is that just like a rumor? Like, let me start with my question, maybe. An update on the wastewater treatment plant completion and date amount of remaining outstanding. Last month, someone stated it was around $14.5 million. That seems very high if the project is to be completed this month. What is the dollar amount for any approved or expected change orders? Or is there anything there in that comment that I just asked?
We have more, Ms. Comley. There's actually another agenda item that's on where the finances are going to be discussed, so that's going to be coming up.
That's going to be coming
Yes,
tonight?
ma'am.
or-
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that answers that question.
Yeah, we'll answer your questions then.
Pardon me?
I said, yeah, you'll get your answers then.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Keith Lowicky. I live at 3118 Lake Groves Road, Northeast Lake Placid. My concern is, in the audience, we've now had 3 motions, both made and seconded. Could we please repeat the motion that we're voting on and withdraw the other motions that have been made for clarification for the community?
Okay.
I'll give it a go.
You want to read back the
Well, yes, I get the basic gist. So just to approve grants and programs and future expenses using the Connect to Protect Lake Placid Septic to Sewer Program framework as presented. Got it?
Did that make it more clear? You good? Right, right. Just the final motion is the only one that's still active. Okay.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, bring it back. Poll the council.
Councilmember Worley?
yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
No, it needs some tweaking before it goes out to the public.
Okay.
Mayor Holbrook, as a follow-up to a lot of the discussion that took place, would it be fine to ask staff to come back at next week's meeting with a detailed review of the current sewer plant, the funding, where we are in budget, and then I know we have other associated grants with that. We all talk about the $40 million grant, but then we have it's like a $700,000 grant for the Marquita lift station, then there was another $600 and some thousand grant. And I think it would be worthwhile. I mean, I've been on council for 2 years, and I've not had an update of the funding, the budget, and what are some of the risks that we might have. And I thought that was what I had asked at the last meeting would come forward. So is that something that we can put on next week's agenda to get an update to ourselves and the public?
Isn't that what we're going to talk about next?
That's one item next. That's fine.
Yeah, we're going to
I'll
talk about
hold
that.
that into that discussion then.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about all that next, because it seemed like there were a lot of those things that were addressed in the packet that we got.
Okay. We'll go to B, change order for lift station pipe upsizing and additional CEI.
Okay, based on your last question, Rachel came to me, I think that was the night of the last town council, and she had her spreadsheet figured out and came to find out we had 3.2 million left on that $40 million grant. I talked to our contractor and our engineers. We can, I'm asking to put back upsizing of the pipe that was taken out of the first bid because they didn't think they had the money. And the contractor told me he can get it done by the end of September so we can finish out the contract and then we can use $1.75 million of that remaining money. And Rachel, she has her spreadsheet all put together to cover all this. Usually I don't have to come to a council, but it's just the size of the change order. Just being through transparency, I wanted you guys to see it and authorize me to approve the change order. This will upsize the pipes coming from camping conference going to our new Marquata Green Dragon lift station, leaving there, moving all the way up to north of the Main Street lift station and connect into a pipe there to accept future flows from the camping conference line. This was in the original design, but it was pulled out because of they thought they had lack of funds on it. So, like I said, we don't have to go out to bid for nothing. It's just a change order. Contractors say you can already do it, and we can use 1.7 million of the 3.2 left over.
So just a couple quick questions is, let's talk about the timing. So you're saying there is money left over in the WG-17, the $40
Nope.
million grant?
Just the 40 million.
Right, there's money available, I shouldn't say left over.
Yes.
Money available in the $40 million
Yes.
grant. Let's talk about timing, because I know that with that grant, we have to have the project completed by June, the end of June, with all reimbursements submitted by September.
The end of September, all reimbursements have to be in. Right.
But I thought the work had to be completed by June 30th.
We're having a phone call with DEP tomorrow to confirm and see if we can throw this project in on that with the due date mid-September to get it completed.
Yeah, I would get in writing if they're going to say,
Oh,
yeah, you've got a
definitely.
3-month extension,
Right.
because the specifics are,
yes.
I mean, we're really crunching down to some deadlines that
Right,
could put
but-
us at risk of absorbing to
Oh,
the
no,
town.
we get all authorization in writing, but I just hate to give back 3.3 million. I mean, 3.2 million. So if they give us the okay, but since it's town
I want that
council-
okay in writing, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay?
Oh, no. Gotta have a paper trail.
And is the estimated cost that you received a year ago?
Nope, I just got this one. It was, 1 million, could you scroll where it is? No, 1,000,006 right there, 1,006,580, 585.26, and a change order for CEI from our engineer. They haven't got me the actual quote, but he gave me a estimate about 100,000. But it'll be determined when I actually get
Okay.
the quote. So I just put an extra 100,000 on it to cover inspections.
Okay, so I think it's the right thing to do, right? Let's make sure we have the right size pipes for
Correct.
growth in the future versus absorbing something now, pulling
Yeah.
it out to expand it.
So when
My
the-
concerns are going to be, okay, the
Approval
cost
and
and the
approval.
completion,
Yes,
so that we can get reimbursed.
absolutely. And the big thing is this project will be complete if we put the pipes in now. So we can tick that off our list. Because when we did these ones, they pulled the upsizing of the pipes out of that original bid. So at least we have a complete project instead of something we have to go back on and change pipe size.
And Councilwoman Charles Pannoni is here. They're in the audience as well.
So I'm confused that we could opt not to do this, and the system was going to work just fine?
Yes, this is for future flows. From the camp and conference line that comes down East Lake Drive, comes up and goes down Marquardt to the new lift station. And then when it leaves there, it goes into the old size pipe, which is for future flows. It'll handle our current flows for right now, but if there's future flows on it, it needs to be upsized. And this will go down, I think down to Heartland and cut back up and then connect over on 17 right there into the pipe that's going to the new wastewater plant.
Okay, so it's for future,
Future flows, yes, ma'am.
okay, because you tie that in where it's not critical to do it,
No,
and balance that against the risk of having to absorb it if we don't get it done in time.
right. So actually, we're tying in the south plant when we decommission it, which comes down Lake Mirror Drive, down East Lake Drive. But if we start doing connections out there, then that's when the flows will actually go up. So this is upsizing the pipe. That whole project will be complete for future flows.
Okay.
And we have the opportunity to use some grant money that we didn't know we had. But it's time restraints, so that's why I'm bringing it to you guys tonight. So after we have a discussion with DEP tomorrow and get everything in writing, I'm just looking for the authorization to sign the change order to move forward with it so we can get it done in a timely manner.
Is the smaller pipe in the ground now?
Yes, it's the original pipe from one of the lift stations that we decommissioned down there for, down by the high school.
So it's not new pipe that's in the ground?
No.
We're
it's
not
old.
digging up new pipe to put
No,
in more new pipe?
We're
Okay,
going to put a brand-new pipe in next to it.
okay, thank you.
I'm going to vote for because I do believe what we need to do. But I also want everybody to know I may profit from this because I have lakefront property and I want to take the septic off the lake, just so everybody knows. I believe in the program. Is that okay? I mean, I support the program, but it's for,
Are you abstaining because of a conflict?
well, I don't know, should I?
Okay. Well, I would have to know more facts about it.
Well, this one's just asking for.
I have just, it'd be a house hooking into the system, creating more flow into the, but I don't think so, because it's not just me, it's
No,
the
no,
whole
it's not gonna-
town. Yeah, okay.
Based
Just,
on what you told me, no conflict, the program's open to everyone as long as they pay for what.
Right,
it's
but
out.
this is totally different.
right, thank you.
This-
But
this-
I want to hook in because I'm on the lake, and Lake Stream is beautiful, and I don't want to damage the lake anymore.
Yeah, but this one's for the change order of pipes from Marquardt going up. So that shouldn't affect your property or nothing, it's just for flows.
And then when you get it in writing, the extension or whatever, just to make sure that we are, because the system would work without doing this, and it is only for future use, I'd like confirmation from DEP that it falls within the guidelines.
Oh, it does. It was already in the original bid
Okay.
and plans from DEP under the 40 million.
Okay.
They just pulled that out, I think Kevin did, because he didn't think he had enough money. So everything has been approved, permitted, everything through the $40 million grant for this. So that's why we're trying to go for that. It's low-hanging fruit, and we can, get a project completed.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve a budget amendment of $1,758,520.
No, it's not a budget, it's a change order.
And a budget amendment, right? Is it both?
No, because it's coming out of the grants, it's a change order.
Okay. So to make a motion to approve a change order of $1,758,526 of the remaining grant to improve the future flow from the Camp and Conference Center lift station to Main and Marqueta lift stations to the new,
Could you make that change orders, because we'll have to do one for engineering and one,
that's 100,000 as a separate one.
100,000 is CEI. Yes,
Change
ma'am.
orders in the amount of $1,758,000. Is that fine?
Correct.
Okay, let me read it again. I'll make a motion to approve change orders in the amount of $1,758,526 of the remaining grant to improve the future flow from the Camp and Conference Center lift station to Main and Marqueta lift stations to the new sewer plant.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other comments from the podium? Hearing none, we'll take it to the audience.
Josephine Comley at 607 Sunset Point Drive. I'm just asking council and the mayor that we don't repeat our mistakes because we're going to be doing multiple lift stations, going to be doing multiple piping. Back in 2017, there was a lift station that was built, and there was a flaw in it. And when that flaw occurred, apparently the town of Lake Placid did not do the final building inspection on that lift station, which caused some concerns and backup sewer to two residents. So those two residents had to go through trying to get who's responsible for that. Town said they weren't, and come to find out the town was responsible. I'm only bringing this up because we have to be really cautious with all these lift stations, that we get the proper people to inspect and they make sure that the job is done correctly, okay? And same thing with the wastewater treatment plant, whether it be a wastewater treatment plant or a lift station. We don't want to have it come back at us that, oh boy, there's a flaw, the town did not inspect it. So I'm just asking you to please be cautious, okay? Thank you.
Pam Petras, 12373 Lost Lake Drive, Lake Placid. I think I can help add some clarity here. So you had the $40 million project, and as time went along, there was cost overruns. Y'all had a emergency town council meeting back in December 24, and Kevin found out you had to not spend all the $40 million by a certain date, but you had to have it allocated. So you put into the plans, we're going to decommission Tomoka. We're going to do a force main from Tomoka to the new wastewater treatment plant. We're going to do all these certain things. As time went on, funds ran out. You've had to pull back. We no longer have any of the $40 million to decommission Tomoka. We no longer have the money to do the force main from Tomoka to the new wastewater treatment plant. The 6-inch line, sewer line that goes from the high school Marquetta to the Lake Placid Conference Center is in the ground. It was a 4-inch line. They upsized it through this $40 million grant. What they're talking about now is there's a current probably 4-inch line in the ground that's old, and so they're going to put a new one. I don't know if it's 6-inch. Bert, is it a 6-inch line? So upsize line, 6-inch line that will connect to the north of Journal Plaza, then connect on to the new wastewater treatment plant. I know he said like new future development. It's not like you're going to have 1,000 units or 800 units. You're talking about 100 units. I mean, it's not a 10-inch line. It's a 6-inch line that is not very big at the end of the day. But you've already, y'all have approved this. It's where the consultant cut back and pulled things out. We don't have money for that. We don't have money for that. And they just pulled things out. Thank you.
Lisa Sherman, 400 Lake Mirror Drive. Charlotte, is it appropriate for me to still state that I'm the wife of the former attorney, or are you good with me just saying Lisa Sherman?
I have no preference.
Okay, great. It sounds like this change order is a great thing to do, to use the rest of your money, but I feel like you're all running past the fact that you still have not seen a report that tells you the numbers. You're making this decision to allow them to put these change orders in, and you don't even really know if there is $3 million left. You've got Rachel saying that there is, and I believe that she's not lying. She's telling to the best of her knowledge, but somebody needs to see something in writing that reconciles Rachel's spreadsheet back to the money that has come through the town's account, the money that is owed. Spreadsheets are standalone, and they can have an error if it does not tie back to the money. And until this town council can see a report in writing, I don't see how you vote to spend $3 million when you can't be comfortable that you have $3 million. You're doing that just based on somebody said, oh yeah, we got $3 million. What have you seen evidence of that? Just my opinion as an accountant. Thank you.
We are going to base this on our phone call from DEP tomorrow. They'll let us know if that figure is correct. Nothing's going to be signed until we get something in writing from DEP saying we have the money and we have the time.
What about town council seeing that? What about the books? Does DEP have a copy of all your records?
Yes, they do.
Then why can't we have something provided to the council?
It's actually open for you to even see it. Anybody who has asked, you can go on there and see it yourself on the DEP website. It's open for everybody. Every change order, everything that we have ever provided, every payment that has ever been received is all open and public knowledge. The only reason why we're not giving actual amounts in here is because every time we do that, it comes back and it says that we've given inconsistent information. So instead of giving wrong information, we are going to make sure we talk to the experts and we true that up with them tomorrow. Rachel has a spreadsheet that we'll be happy to provide. Our legal has also been able to review this because he has been fully involved in the process as we are looking at the $4 million.
And every day we touch that spreadsheet, or we touch invoices, that number changes. So right now, the town has spent like $26 million of that money on the WGO 17, and that is the sewer septic project. There was 2 other grants that kind of helped out, kind of piggybacked, that kind of pushed the project along, which was the WGO 25 and the RIFT grant. So right now, the RIFT is spent 100%. $570,000, that was spent. We're getting ready to submit the closing documents on that. WGO 25, that grant for $600,000, that spent 100%. So right now, everything else that left on the project is going to be spent out of WG 17, which is the sewer septic project. That should take over the rest of the project, but then we still have other grants that we're still trying to get to. The sewer septic project is just not after the WGO 17. The $40 million is just getting this project done, but you still have to continue to work on the other parts of the sewer septic project. So this is just a piece of the puzzle. It's a lot more of the project that's coming in the future.
Bert, does this decision for you need to be tonight, or could it push into next week's meeting? Because it does tie into what I'd asked earlier to Mayor Holbrook, and we said, well, it's going to be on here. I would like to see an overall...
That's why I'm asking for tonight, because of the time frame.
So you need this change order tonight. It can't wait one week.
Change order approval tonight after the phone call with DEP and approval from them, and then I'd like to get them going on it, because it's, time sensitive. But we're not going to do nothing until we get absolutely approval and consent from DEP. So basically, your motion would say, based on DEP's approval in writing, give permission to the utility director to signed change order for upsizing a pipe. If a DP doesn't give it to us, it's dead, so. But it's just time sensitive, that's all.
And Rachel, you're very confident that there is money remaining in the 40 million to cover this?
Yes, and I can count for every vendor or every contract permit, everything with that $40 million down to the penny. And so with the upgrading the line that Bert is speaking of, he have the funds to do that.
Okay.
And of course, the amount that he give you for the estimate, that's still a change order estimate. It's not 100% either, so.
Right, and I appreciate what you just kind of quickly summarized with WG 17, 25, 26. I mean, that was the point I was making. We have a lot of grants out there that we've received. It would be of my interest of, well, where are we with these grants? You know, how much have we spent? How much is outstanding? How much have we got reimbursed? What the risks are? And that's what I was asking, and I'll continue to ask after this motion for next week's meeting. We really do need, you know, a summary in writing of here's where we're at, knowing it's a moving target, but still you can give us the best estimate of all of the initial costs and the change orders.
The information is available, but it's sort of like trying to put it into one night or 1 hour. That's a lot of information to kind of throw out there. So if council can come in anytime, I can show you the information, show you the vendors, show you the payables, show you the requests that we got back from the state. The information is there.
Isn't this what I'm looking at? It looks like this is what I'm looking at as far as the wastewater treatment thing, and then I have the current grants thing here, and it looks like I'm being told what each of these grants is, where they're at and what they're doing. Looks like you want something else?
And the public wants that information, so by having something sitting on the dais,
So all you want is this to go out to the public?
and ability to ask questions.
Okay.
So
I
maybe
think-
it's as simple as whatever this summary is, that we just put on the agenda, we go through it, we ask questions, and we move on.
Okay.
I mean, I get it that the invoices come in a different time, but we've got purchase orders are out there, right? So we should have an idea of where are we overall with the 40 million, and I think we've got about 4 grants, right? So, and maybe it is that, I haven't looked at that attentively, but it's the transparency that needs to be also to the public. And, I mean, for 2 years, we haven't got updates on the sewer plant and the grants. That's all I'm asking, is a good overall summary of where we're at.
And I agree, that's fine, and we can put this out to the public. I think it's probably already on a website somewhere that they can look it up. But I also feel like we've been elected to do something up here. And sometimes we're going to have information that we need to make decisions on, and the public elected us to make a good decision on their behalf. So, yes, I mean, transparency is everything. Okay, fine, let everybody have it. But if we have to go over it 4 or 5 times just to make sure everybody has seen this, we're going to run every project we have right into the ground. So that's just my opinion.
Good evening, Council. It's a pleasure to stand on this side and not have the weight of the decision on my hands. One issue you may want to consider would be the legal documentation, because I've not seen it in the agenda most of the time that comes with it to the proposal, is exactly what contract are you going to be adopting. So I assume you're leaving that to Mike. He's a good lawyer. He can figure that out. But this one's kind of important, and you really ought to take a look. For example, you got to go back and change some things in your existing contract that says when this project will be complete. Not just do a change order that says, yeah, go do it. It's got to be drop-dead completion and drop-dead payment and drop-dead bills, or else we eat it. I'm troubled by the answer, well, we get condemned if we gather the information. It's not hard to come back and say, here's where we are on that sewer plant.
I did a records request. Charlotte's chosen not to respond. Last night or last week when we had the septic to sewer meeting, give us the, what's the darn thing cost? I don't think anybody up here knows the answer to that. Do you, Nell?
No, sir, I don't think I do.
Well, I mean, it's not a matter of we're micromanaging. It's a matter of show me the expense and show me what's been spent and put it on a piece of paper so we can make sure. That is our job. While he's writing the legal documents that you've got to do, come back in a week, like Councilman Charles suggested, and get her done. I agree. This is the right project. It's the one that we put in a really big sewer pumping station at Maquata. How am I doing time-wise? At Maquata, and without this line, you can't use that bigger sewer plant. And it's the one that's designed to bring from the North Shore of Lake Placid via the Conference Center enlarged line to that Maquata station that's enlarged to this line that needs to be enlarged to get to your plant. That will take all of the Lake Placid, not just development, but the existing septic to sewer. Am I right on that?
Yes, and Rachel has the breakdown, Bert. She already
Well,
has
show
it.
it to us.
Rachel, can you please pull this up?
Show it to us. That's what
The breakdown that you said to Cruz.
the Regional Utility Commission requested it. I've heard this council requested it. Why is it a secret? I've requested it by email.
It's not a secret, Bert. It's because we're trying to explain to you that there are moving parts, and every time we have a bill that comes in and we are paying it, it's going to move. So we're going to put something in the public that you keep insisting on, and it's going to keep moving the target because as an invoice comes in, it gets paid out. That's what Rachel just explained.
And as you know, that's normal operating procedure. We keep paying our bills, but as of this date, what is the number?
Rachel, you're going to have to give a response to that.
Can I send it out in the morning?
Yeah, I don't want to put Rachel to pull something up on the
I am
screen
not.
right now.
I am not suggesting tonight to put Rachel on the spot. That's cruel and unusual punishment. But you ought to have that in this package for the public, as she is saying.
Bert, we just received it from Pannoni on their way here, and Rachel just worked on this.
Cut it off a week ago. Cut it off a month ago.
No, we didn't.
Show us.
Time.
Pam Fentress. I kind of pride myself on being a super sleuther on the DEP, Swift Mud websites. I dig in, I track things. I'm on the Oculus site. I follow the 17, the 25, whatever it is. I'm trying to see what the status is. Having always been in the audience and always having asked at the different meetings, what's the update on the Lake Placid Camping Conference sewer line, water line, bulk water agreement, never getting any details. I can tell you, on this $40 million, you can go on the DEP's website. There are 38 documents. What I saw was the last one. They submitted bills from April to September 30th. They do progress reports. Quarterly, the town does quarterly progress reports. Turn those in. They have to send in a batch of the invoices for reimbursement. They did April through September. And so at that time, there was $6.5 million roughly requested. $13.5 million is left on your $40 million grant. So then you'll have October 1st, so let's quarterly report to the end of December. Then it'll take a month or two for that batch to go through. You should be getting, in my opinion, a next lump sum amount of money. But this stuff is all here. You can spend days. I know that's weird, but I can spend days just looking, opening up attachments, tracking it. So not normal people don't have that time. I get it. We've been looking at this, Burt Harris, for 5 years, and it morphed over time. We did have 9 areas, and I say we because I feel a part of it, 9 areas. Then it went to 7, then it went to 6, and it went to 5. There are 5 tasks that need to be completed on the current contract. There's a number of homes, but Bert wrote the contract, and it said, I think it's either one house has to be hooked up. He spent a whole year or 10 months making sure that y'all wouldn't stumble when it came to the $40 million contract. But that decommission of Tomoka is in there as well. So it is a legal contract, and it's not just the phone call tomorrow. You have other tasks, but a lot of things changed over that time. Thank you.
Lisa Sherman, 400 Lake Mirror Drive. I understand that it's moving, Charlotte, and that you're constantly having new invoices, but there was a way that Rachel figured out that she had $3 million left. So in my simple little brain, it seems like you could have a report that says, this is what we have paid out in actual money. These are the invoices that we have left that we need to pay right now that we've already received. And then these are the estimated invoices from the contractor. That would then total some number, right? Maybe it totals 37 million. And that's how she came up with the fact that we have 3 million left. But why can't we get a simple thing? That's not going to be on DEP's website. We want to know, what has the town actually written checks for? What's that total? 26 million maybe? We have invoices that we need to write checks for, and that's 10 million. And then the contractor says we have 5 million left. That's what we want to see. We don't need to see 20 different spreadsheets and 20 different reports, but something that's very simple. We've actually written checks for this. We have this many invoices in here to write checks for, and the contractor says this is what's left. Can we see that? Great. When?
And it is a moving target, but if we put a date on it, these are the numbers as of
Right,
this date.
Because she had to do that to come up with the fact that we have 3 million left, right? She had to go through some exercise like that. That's what we want to see.
And I'd like to add to it, it's not just the financial numbers, that's important, but what other risks do we have? Are there some contractual things that we've agreed to in the grant that might be at risk? And during the big meeting, and there were questions, what's the number? First it was 3,400 homes, and then we revised it to 2,600 homes, and then we kept to 700, I think 1,600, then 700. And one wise person said, Bert, Mr. Harris, is there a number that we might be at to be at default? Could it be 0? And of course he said, no, it can't be, because in our contract with them, we said this is what we want to do. So, I mean, a good question was asked, does it have to be 1 or what? What is the risk? So are there some legal issues that, as this is winding down, that maybe we didn't know about that we should? So it's not just the financial numbers, it's also the timing. You know, when is the plant going to be complete? First it was February 1st, then the end of February, now I'm hearing the end of March. If that keeps slipping, we're going to have some issues. So to me, it's an executive summary of the overall grants, financial dollars, but also timing and other issues and risks. So how do I need a motion to have that put on next week's agenda, or is that something that you can pull together? I can't hear you.
It's already coming forward, and Cruise Bank will be here next week as well. So it's already coming forward for next week.
So a summary of all of our grants?
Yes, ma'am. It was my understanding that the financial information was going to be presented in this meeting, so I apologize that it's not.
Okay.
Very briefly, 1 minute or less. You made a good point. I don't remember the number of homes. I don't know that what we settled on, because after I wrote, Kevin amended a few times, always discussed here, but I just don't remember the context of those amendments. Have you looked at the grant agreement to make sure all of the boxes and minimum requirements are being checked before we spend this last $3 million? I'll take that as a no.
We're in the process of doing that. We passed off the meeting minutes to our attorney today. He received them. He can confirm that. It is moving. We are moving right along with it as quick as we possibly can.
But that's just not meeting minutes. All you need are the grant agreements and amendments to see what the town has committed to provide.
Yes, we are doing that.
So you haven't done that. So she's right. You need to bring that back in a week. But
this, to be clear, the line, I am absolutely supporting the change order. I am
What
not
would you
debating
like
it.
us to do? Because that seems to be the question at hand. What would you like us to do?
I would encourage you to be able to report back that this town council has met all of the requirements of the grant agreement, $40 million.
That's what we're trying to do.
By next week, you'll be able to say yes then. Thank you, Mayor.
We've got a motion and a second. Bring it back. Poll the council, please.
Councilmember Charles?
Yes.
Councilmember Worley?
Yes.
Councilmember Hayes?
Yes.
Councilmember Eberhardt?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. What else we got? That's it? Okay, I'll bring it to our town administrator. You got nothing?
I've been asked about where we are with the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA. We had a meeting last week with the YMCA. That project seems to be that it will move quicker opposed to Boys and Girls Club because there are financial implications with the Boys and Girls Club. So we do have a meeting scheduled for this Wednesday to discuss that a little more in depth, and we'll bring that back in April. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, you've got anything? Any words of wisdom?
No words of wisdom today.
Okay. All right, staff? Anything from staff?
I was asked to give an update on where we are at with the cemetery fencing. First off, regarding the front fence line, it has been repaired the second time it was hit, and we're monitoring it daily to ensure if anything happens now, we'll be aware of it. The hogs in the back, 8 of them were removed from an adjacent property several months ago, and there's been no sign that I'm aware of that they've returned. Regarding fencing off the back of the fence line, that was a question somebody wanted to know how much it would be. It looks like it'll be between $10,000 and $11,000 if you want to close off the existing property, not the expanded properties. It fluctuates $1,000 because we haven't considered if we want gates installed. I don't know how much extra that would be. Do you have any other questions? I mean, if you want to move forward on that, we don't have the money in the budget this year. It can be put in the budget for this upcoming year. Or if you're happy with the hogs haven't come back yet, and we'll see if they come back and go forward from there, we can do that.
I understand from Bill Brantley. He trapped them, so it's not as much they haven't come back, but was it like 5 of them or something? He was able to
8.
trap some, shoot some, and he felt from where he saw they were coming that
There was,
problem solved.
yeah, there was 8 removed. Those
8?
Yes, those won't be coming back, but you never know. A new group could come at any time. I'm sorry, did you ask for us to make a motion to approve money? It's not on our agenda, we can put it on next month, No, I don't need a motion. I was just letting you know, just so you Okay. have food for thought. If you want to move forward with this, that's something just to think about. Good job, thank you.
Just a quick update on the construction of the police department. It is just a little bit ahead of schedule, and things are actually moving along quite smoothly.
Okay, very good. We have our engineers here with us tonight, so I want to make sure we give them a chance to come up and address the council.
Good evening, Council. I'm Roger Hellman with Pannoni, and with me is Jeff McKinney.
So we're the engineers, as you, I think, all know, that designed and are now doing technical services during construction for your advanced wastewater treatment plant. I want to come here and give you a little bit of an update about where things stand and where they're going to go. Right now, overall, as far as a percentage-wise, I'd probably say 90 to 95% of the plant is constructed. Physically, what's done is all of the structures, all of the equipment is installed. Really what remains is there's some quality control work, some tanks that are, the coatings on some tanks that are going to require some repairs. That has to be done, and then probably more importantly, all of the training for the operators still remains. The existing plant is going to be converted into a digester and a chlorine contact chamber. That work still needs to be done, but that can kind of come at the end, kind of parallel to most of the other work that's being done right now. Just a little update on, I guess, who the contractor is. The contractor is Poole & Kent. Some dates. The notice to proceed on the project was July 8th, 2024. The current final completion date is March 10th, 2026, which is tomorrow. We know that they're late. The reason that they're late, there's been some quality control throughout the projects. A lot of things have already been fixed. Some of the tanks had some leaks that needed to be resolved. Some of those items were critical path items and definitely set the contractor back. However, in the contract, anything that is a rework or a contractor mistake, that's not cause for a time extension. That's supposed to be on them. If they made a mistake, that's not a reason for a time extension. The town attorney sent out a letter on it was January 29th, informing the contractor that there's $1,000 a day liquidated damages that are going to be enforced. Which that'll be after tomorrow. That'll be the date that $1,000 a day is going to be enforced. We've been trying to accelerate them as much as we can, doing our best. That's probably the thing that's going to motivate them more than anything to get finished with the project. But I will say that we want to make sure that the project's done right. We don't want to rush through things, and if there's mistakes going on, we want to make sure that y'all are getting what you paid for the project. It's an expensive project, and you deserve to get exactly how it was designed and designed with good care. So a little bit about where the contract amount is of the project. It's the overall construction contract with the contractor was $30,606,644.93. The current contractor pay amounts that have been approved are $22,856,000, and then there's another pay application for February, which is about $2.1 million. We're still working with them they've asked for some pay items that we can't approve, so that's why that's kind of an approximate number. So overall, about $25 million has been approved for them out of it's $30,606,000. There have only been really $16,000 in change orders on this project that have been additive change orders. There was a deductive change order that was for owner direct purchase that was for about $3 million. That was done to save on sales tax, and that saved the town about close to $190,000. So I think we're in good shape as far as how much the change orders are, and probably the reason why there's more money left over in the grant is because Kevin accounted for probably more change orders than really what there have been. So that's why you've got some money to spend, so to speak, which is why Bert's here in front of you to do some extra work on another project. So that's pretty much it. I guess I can go over some of the scope items that remain. Again, there's some coatings repairs. The conversion to the digester and chlorine contact chamber, like I mentioned, equipment checkouts, final controls integration and SCADA commissioning, plant startup, biological process startup, operator training, final site grading and roadway construction, and then as-built and O&M. So with that, if y'all have any questions, be glad to answer.
Can you just talk briefly about decommissioning? Because the plan is once this is up functioning, we're going to decommission the old plant, correct?
Yeah, that's where, pretty much where we're at right now. We're about ready to start putting flows into the new plant. And when the old plant's decommissioned, it's going to be converted into, for other purposes, a digester and chlorine contact. So that'll start. And that's not a long process. That involves coating the interior, adding some other equipment inside the old plant.
Any other questions? Appreciate that update.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I like to say, I noticed recently between Lake June Point and the entrance to Oak Island on Catfish Creek, there's been a lady out there every day picking up trash and putting it in plastic bags. I don't know who she is, but I want to be sure that at this, I hope she's watching, because we need more residents like that. She did a phenomenal job cleaning up both sides of the road, and I just personally want to thank her for what she did. And if anybody knows her, please tell her that I think council would agree that that's quite a community asset, and I'm real proud to have people like that in our town. So thank you. Anything else to come before council?
Yeah, I have just a couple questions here. One is to Harry. Thank you for what you did for opening day. Last Saturday, a week ago Saturday was opening day at the ballpark, and I know that you and Joe had worked hard to get a lot, of the fields ready. And then the question comes my way is for Amazon. Do we know how many jobs Amazon ended up creating for the town? We kept hearing different numbers, 200, this and that. Do we have any final how they ended up? I think that's something the community is interested in. I don't have that right now. Okay, maybe if you can follow up and get that. We can follow up. And then the next RPAC meeting is April 16th, and we have an April 13th town council meeting. It would be nice to maybe go to this RPAC meeting asking for some money. I know that Avon Park is always in the news with money that they've got in Sebring, so I don't want to miss another quarterly RPAC meeting. I know that we're working on different playground equipment and that, and so this would be a good chance to incorporate that and get some of the funds from the county. That's it. Oh, and then, Chief, I did have a follow-up from the president of Lake June Point Homeowners Association. Annual meeting was this last week, and the chief came and gave an update, and it was very much appreciated, to the point that you're going to get an annual invitation. Thank you.
Nell? Nothing. Deborah? Joy?
Did I see it correctly that the YMCA is going to have an office here in the town hall?
No, not in the town hall.
Oh, okay.
They would like to be able to have registration space down at Lake June Park.
Oh, okay, that's where it was.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. For the YMCA to be able to have a registration location for the signups.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else to come before council, meeting adjourned.